evolved beyond petty confrontations, emotional reactivity, and the need to explain himself to people who were never listening. This isn't apathy, it's not weakness. It's the final form of psychological mastery. When a Sigma becomes untouchable, he enters a state of quiet dominance. While the world runs on noise, validation, and constant social positioning, the Sigma operates in stillness. Studies in behavioral psychology reveal that people who remain calm under stress are perceived as more competent and authoritative. That's exactly what makes the Sigma so unsettling. He breaks social scripts simply by not playing the game. Most men are triggered by disrespect, rejection, or pressure. But the Sigma has trained his mind through solitude, reflection, and detachment. He understands the psychology of control, how those who try to provoke are often revealing their own insecurities. His lack of response becomes a mirror that reflects the chaos of others. He doesn't fight for dominance. His presence alone shifts the dynamic. This isn't about becoming Sigma. This is about the final stage, the untouchable phase. It's when he no longer seeks to fit in, explain himself, or prove his worth. Instead, he influences quietly, strategically, and permanently. He becomes an enigma, a disruptor, a calm force in a world of chaos. And people don't know how to handle a man who can't be manipulated. So if you've ever walked away instead of lashing out or been misunderstood, not because you were wrong, but because you were ahead of your time, you're exactly where you're supposed to be. This is the mindset of the man who cannot be shaken. Welcome to the final form of masculine self-mastery. Let's begin. Number 1, he masters the art of saying less. Words are currency, and the Sigma male spends them like gold, rarely, wisely, never carelessly. In a world obsessed with noise, chatter, and constant validation, the Sigma stands apart like a silent mountain. He doesn't waste words trying to be heard. He waits until the silence is so loud that his voice naturally becomes the focus. Where most people fear awkward pauses in conversation, he sees opportunity. Silence to him is not emptiness, it's presence, it's pressure, it's power. Studies in communication have shown that nonverbal cues, including silence, can be more influential than spoken words. The Sigma understands this instinctively. He lets silence do the heavy lifting while others scramble to fill the void. While some speak to impress, weaving elaborate stories to seek approval, the Sigma speaks to impact. His words aren't just sounds, they're statements. And because he doesn't constantly broadcast his thoughts when he speaks, it lands with precision and weight. Psychologically, people are wired to pay more attention to what's scarce and unpredictable. This is why his mystery becomes magnetic. Oversharing dilutes power. Withholding builds it. The Sigma sharpens his language the way a warrior sharpens his blade. His sentences are short, intentional, and clear, not because he's uninterested, but because he respects the strength of well-placed words. Just as an author trims unnecessary words to strengthen prose, the Sigma refines his speech to eliminate waste. Every word is like a sniper's bullet, measured, calculated, and powerful. This minimalist communication style not only commands respect, it also leaves others slightly on edge. They wonder what he's thinking, they replay his sentences, they anticipate his next move, and that anticipation, that curiosity, gives him a psychological edge in nearly every social interaction. In business, relationships, and leadership, the ability to control a room without saying much is a rare form of influence. The Sigma has mastered that art. His silence is not absence, it's awareness. And his speech is not noise, it's strategy. He knows that in the economy of influence, cheap talk is inflation. So he invests his words like a master trader, only when the return is guaranteed. That's why people listen when he speaks, because every word is chosen like a strike of a blade. Number 2, he observes first, then moves. While others rush in, the Sigma male watches. He doesn't operate in panic or eagerness. Instead, he approaches life like a strategist on a chessboard. He scans the room, not just with his eyes, but with a sharpened intuition trained to read body language, tone, and subtle shifts in energy. Where most people speak to be heard, the Sigma listens to understand. He studies people not to manipulate, but to position himself wisely. His silence isn't empty, it's tactical. In psychology, this is called a trait often linked with high emotional intelligence and strategic thinkers. Unlike the alpha, who thrives on dominance, or the beta, who conforms, the Sigma thrives in calculated detachment. He lets people talk, rant, boast, and bluff, because he knows that given enough time, everyone shows their true hand. He doesn't chase fleeting moments, he times out. When others are busy acting for attention, posting every move online, seeking validation, the Sigma is moving silently, stacking quiet wins, and preparing for long-term positioning. You might spot him in the corner of the room, seemingly disengaged, but mentally he's already 5 moves ahead. His mind works like a radar, tracking motives, predicting reactions, and assessing potential threats or allies. It's a slow burn strategy, and it works. In military terms, this is the principle of observe, orient, decide, act, OODA loop, and Sigma males live it unconsciously. They don't seek the spotlight because they don't need it. What they want is power, not applause. And power, in the Sigma's world, is born from patience, perception, and precision. While others are burning themselves out trying to impress, the Sigma is quietly building leverage, social, psychological, and financial. Because at the end of the day, he knows something most don't. Timing trumps talent, and silence screams louder than noise. Number 3, he detaches without bitterness. When he leaves, it's clean. No lingering texts, no unfinished conversations, no messy emotional loops, just silence. Complete final. That's the signature move of the Sigma male. It's not heartlessness, it's discipline. It's a calculated understanding of self-worth and emotional boundaries. While the world is caught up in chasing closure, rehashing arguments, or seeking validation from those who don't value them, the Sigma walks away with something much stronger than vengeance, clarity. He knows something most don't. Detachment isn't weakness, it's power. Psychologically, detachment is the ability to separate one's sense of identity and peace from external chaos. In fact, cognitive behavioral studies suggest that emotional detachment can improve mental health by reducing stress and anxiety, especially in toxic environments. The Sigma male has mastered this. He doesn't ghost to be cruel. He vanishes to protect his energy. He's not emotionally unavailable. He's emotionally selective. He knows that not everyone deserves access to his presence, and he refuses to let drama take root in his life. When a connection turns into confusion, he doesn't demand explanations. He doesn't stalk social media for signs or replay memories in his head. Instead, he lets it all go. People, situations, even feelings that once ran deep. He lets them dissolve like smoke in the wind. Why? Because he knows the cost of clinging to what no longer serves him. The Sigma doesn't beg for closure because he's the closure. His internal compass is strong enough to navigate storms without needing someone else to hand him a map. That's the secret. It's not that he doesn't care, it's that he cares enough about himself not to stay in dysfunction. This self-respect, this emotional self-sufficiency is rare and intimidating to many. In a world where people are addicted to emotional chaos, the Sigma chooses peace. And when he walks away, it isn't a cry for attention, it's a final decision. A quiet assertion that his value does not decrease when someone fails to see it. So if a Sigma male leaves, understand it wasn't impulsive, it was intentional. He saw the storm ahead and chose stillness over struggle. No drama, no guilt, just clean silence. The sound of a man who refuses to drown in someone else's storm. Number 4, he trains in solitude. While the world finds comfort in crowds, the Sigma male finds discipline in distance, a quiet rebellion against the noise of conformity. Unlike most who fear solitude, the Sigma does not withdraw to escape the world. He does so to sharpen himself against it. His withdrawal isn't rooted in antisocial behavior, but in a relentless commitment to personal growth. Solitude for him isn't loneliness, it's strategy. Neuroscience even supports this. Studies have shown that solitude can enhance creativity, improve focus, and strengthen emotional regulation. In silence, the Sigma sharpens his thoughts like a blade, cutting away distractions, doubts, and dependence. He uses isolation not as an escape, but as an incubator for transformation. While others seek validation in likes, status, and applause, he seeks clarity in quiet places where the only voice that matters is his own. In solitude, he doesn't just reflect, he plans. He envisions futures no one else can see and works tirelessly behind the scenes to bring them into reality. This discipline in distance is what gives him his edge. When no one is watching, he trains. When others are distracted by noise and trends, he builds in silence. It's a level of self-leadership few can understand because it's not performative, it's purpose-driven. And that's precisely why when he re-emerges, people are shocked. He moves differently, speaks with certainty, and operates at a frequency they weren't ready for. There's a psychological term for this transformation: and it's known to unlock higher cognitive function and self-awareness. The Sigma male doesn't distance himself because he's broken. He distances himself because he's building. And what he's building isn't just success, it's mastery. Mastery over his mind, his path, and his purpose. In a world addicted to constant interaction, the Sigma chooses meaningful evolution. He understands something powerful. Progress often requires stepping away from the crowd to hear the whisper of who you're meant to become. Number 5, he does not explain himself. The Sigma male doesn't need you to understand him, and that's not arrogance, it's self-mastery. He operates on a different frequency, one that isn't tuned to social approval or external validation. While most people spend their lives curating an image, trying to be understood, liked, or accepted, the Sigma walks the opposite path. He's not here to be interpreted, explained, or neatly categorized. His mission is internal, understanding himself, refining his own character, and building his life on principles that don't require applause. You won't find him in debates trying to prove his point, nor will you hear him begging for someone to believe in his vision. Need to be real. Psychologically, this is rooted in high intrapersonal intelligence, a term coined by developmental psychologist Howard Gardner, describing individuals who possess a deep awareness of their inner emotional life and motivations. Sigmas embrace this self-awareness with calm precision. They don't shout their truth, they embody it. And that's the catch. Real truth doesn't scream for attention, it doesn't need to convince, it simply exists quietly, like a mountain in the distance. The Sigma male mirrors that stillness. His power lies in presence, not persuasion. Let people talk, let them speculate, gossip, label, or misunderstand him, it doesn't matter. While they're trying to decode his silence or pick apart his decisions, he's already a few moves ahead, evolving, pivoting, and thriving without explanation. Sociologists might call him an intentional outsider, someone who chooses solitude not from rejection but from clarity. That's why Sigma males often seem detached. They're not emotionally absent, they're emotionally disciplined. They refuse to waste energy where none is needed. If he walks away from an argument, it's not because he's weak, it's because he knows the battlefield isn't worth the war. In a world obsessed with noise, the Sigma male is fluent in silence. And in that silence, he finds something most never do, peace, purpose, and power. So no, he doesn't need you to get him. He's not waiting for that. He's already gone, chasing something bigger than attention, truth, growth, and legacy. Number 6, he values precision over perfection. The Sigma male doesn't waste time chasing perfection because he knows it doesn't exist. In a world obsessed with flawless outcomes and polished appearances, the Sigma sees through the illusion. Perfection to him is a myth, a socially engineered trap designed to keep capable men stuck in endless preparation, doubt, and delay. He understands that perfection is a moving target, and those who chase it often end up standing still. Instead, the Sigma chooses effectiveness. He values results over aesthetics, progress over paralysis. His focus is on what works, not what looks good on paper. This mindset is rooted in a practical, almost scientific approach to life. Psychologists have long recognized the difference between perfectionism and high achievement. While perfectionists often fear failure and procrastinate, high achievers, like the Sigma, set realistic goals and move forward with purpose, even if the path is messy. The Sigma isn't careless, though. Every move he makes is calculated. His choices are measured, not impulsive. He applies a principle similar to the 80-20th rule, also known as the Pareto principle, which states that 80% of outcomes come from 20% of efforts. He identifies the essential 20% that brings the most return and focuses his energy there. That's why he doesn't waste time obsessing over the small details that have little impact. Even when he makes mistakes, he sees them as data points, not failures. To him, errors are not setbacks, but feedback loops that sharpen his precision. It's a deliberate process of refinement, like a sculptor removing excess stone to reveal the form within. Each mistake gives him a clearer sense of what works and what doesn't. This is what separates the Sigma from others. He doesn't fear imperfection, he harnesses it. Because while perfection paralyzes the masses, precision builds the Sigma's empire, one intentional decision at a time. In a society where many are stuck tweaking, editing, revising, and waiting for the perfect moment, the Sigma is already 10 steps ahead, not because he's reckless, but because he knows that clarity emerges from action, not overthinking. His life is a series of purposeful movements, not endless rehearsals. And that is where his power lies, not in flawless execution, but in flawless direction. By pursuing effectiveness over perfection, the Sigma becomes the kind of man who builds, adapts, and rises, while others remain frozen in the illusion of getting it just right. Number 7, he builds quiet power. Power isn't always loud. It doesn't always roar through dominance or demand attention in a crowded room. Sometimes real power walks in quietly, says nothing, and still changes the entire atmosphere. This is the kind of power the Sigma male embodies, a power rooted not in bravado but in self-restraint. In a world that praises overreaction, the Sigma remains still. While others feel the need to clap back, to prove themselves, or to win every argument, the Sigma male understands that silence can be the sharpest sword. Neuroscience even supports this. Studies show that people who can manage their emotional responses, particularly in stressful situations, have higher emotional intelligence, which is directly linked to better decision-making, leadership, and long-term success. The Sigma has mastered this. He doesn't react because he doesn't need validation. His power is in the pause, in the ability to choose not to respond, to walk away without a word, and to never look back. It's not that he's weak or incapable. It's that he's evolved past the need to engage in meaningless power plays. Unlike the alpha, who thrives on control, or the beta, who seeks approval, the Sigma seeks peace. And ironically, that makes him more powerful than both. His life isn't a stage show, but a blueprint for quiet mastery. You won't see him flaunting wins on social media, but his results speak volumes. Through the businesses he builds, the lives he impacts, and the calm certainty that follows him. When you cross paths with a Sigma male, you won't remember what he wore or even what he said. What you'll remember is how his calm presence made you feel. There's no need for showmanship because his energy says everything. That's not arrogance. It's alignment. Alignment with his purpose, his values, and his inner code. True alignment eliminates the need for external validation. It silences the noise of insecurity and replaces it with clarity. And in that clarity, the Sigma male becomes untouchable, not because he's the loudest, but because he's the most grounded. His silence is not emptiness. It's control. His calm is not weakness. It's awareness. And his restraint is not submission. It's power refined. The Sigma male doesn't just walk away from conflict. He rises above it. And that is the kind of power that doesn't need to shout to be felt. It's simply number 8. He doesn't fear being misunderstood. Most people go through life trying to fit in, fearing rejection like it's a death sentence. The need to be liked, understood, and accepted by others is deeply wired into human psychology. But the Sigma male, he operates on an entirely different frequency. While others shrink at the idea of being misjudged or misunderstood, the Sigma thrives in it. Misunderstanding for him is not a curse. It's camouflage. It protects his mission. It keeps him hidden from unnecessary attention, from social obligations that drain his energy, and from the expectations that chain most people to a version of themselves they don't even recognize. He doesn't crave validation because he understands something powerful. Most people are projecting, not perceiving. So when the world slaps a label on him, cold, distant, arrogant, he doesn't flinch, he doesn't explain. Why? Because explanation is an invitation, and he's not looking to be invited into their boxes. Sigmas are deeply introspective by nature, often driven by internal compasses that don't require applause or applause meters. Psychology even points to this mindset as a form of self-determined motivation, where purpose is driven from within, not from external rewards or recognition. The Sigma walks his path silently, often misunderstood, but completely aligned with who he is. And paradoxically, that very detachment makes him unforgettable. People may not understand him, but they can't stop thinking about him. There's a mystery to him that lingers, a calmness that unnerves, and a confidence that speaks without words. He doesn't need the world to walk with him. He just needs room to walk alone. And that's exactly what makes his presence so rare, so powerful, and so impossible to ignore. Becoming untouchable isn't about shutting down emotions, it's about sharpening your clarity. A Sigma male isn't numb, he's intentional. He knows his values, guards his peace, and walks a path few dare to follow. While the world scrambles for attention and overreacts to every slight, the Sigma remains still, mastering self over chaos. This stillness isn't weakness, it's power. In psychological terms, this self-regulation builds resilience, calm, and focus. By conquering himself, the Sigma becomes both invisible to nonsense and unforgettable to the wise. And they don't understand him, they never have. And maybe they're not meant to. You see, the Sigma male is an anomaly in a society that worships noise, validation, and conformity. He walks through life not as a rebel or a misfit, but as a man who simply chooses to operate on his own frequency. On the surface, he looks like everyone else. He stands in the same line at the cafe, breathes the same air, shares the same office space. But there's an undeniable aura about him that makes people pause. It's not arrogance, it's presence. People sense it but can't name it. It's in his calm demeanor, his unreadable eyes, his quiet confidence that doesn't beg for approval. He doesn't perform for likes or laugh when it's socially expected. He doesn't gossip to fit in or wear ambition like a badge to impress others. And that, ironically, makes him both fascinating and threatening. Psychologically, Sigma males exhibit traits similar to introverted intuitives on the Myers-Briggs type indicator, often labeled as INTJs or INTPs. These types are independent thinkers, strategists, and deep processors. Their solitude isn't a rejection of others, it's a recalibration of energy. Studies in personality theory show that people tend to judge what they don't understand. That's why the Sigma male is often labeled wrongly, aloof, arrogant, antisocial. But these are just projections from those who can't fathom strength without dominance or value without visibility. What they call weird, he calls clarity. What they label cold, he sees as control. He's not avoiding connection, he's filtering noise. While society obsesses over alpha-beta hierarchies, the Sigma male rewrites the rule book. He doesn't need a pack to lead or follow. He is his own system, and that unsettles people, because the one who walks alone doesn't just see the world differently. He makes the world question itself. That's why this man isn't for everyone, but then again, neither is greatness. Welcome to Brain Boosters, where we don't just observe the Sigma, we decode his legend. Number 1. He's arrogant. They see a man who doesn't chase approval and mistake it for pride. But detachment isn't ego, it's clarity. In a world obsessed with likes, shares, validation, and applause, the man who walks his own path without begging for recognition is often seen as arrogant or antisocial. But here's the truth. Detachment, especially in the context of a Sigma male or a deeply self-aware individual, is not about thinking you're better than others. It's about being free from the compulsion to be seen, praised, or accepted. Detachment is rooted in inner security. It's the result of having wrestled with your identity and come out on the other side, not needing the noise of the crowd to confirm your worth. This kind of clarity is rare in a society where self-worth is often outsourced to public opinion. Psychologists have long recognized the dangers of external validation addiction. It leads to anxiety, identity confusion, and people-pleasing behaviors that drain one's authenticity. In contrast, the detached man operates from internal validation. He doesn't reject others. He just refuses to be controlled by their approval or rejection. His stillness is not indifference, it's focus. His silence isn't arrogance, it's discernment. He listens more than he speaks and acts more than he boasts. To those who need constant reassurance, this man appears mysterious, perhaps even threatening. But in reality, he's simply free from the exhausting hamster wheel of trying to be liked by everyone. And that freedom, ironically, makes him more attractive, more magnetic. People are drawn to what they can't easily understand. His calm presence forces them to reflect on their own insecurities. They want to know why he isn't performing for the spotlight, why he can walk into a room and not feel the need to impress anyone. And that's the paradox. He doesn't think he's above them, he just isn't it with them. He's not emotionally entangled in the chaos of social approval. He sees it for what it is, a game, and he chooses not to play. That's not pride, that's power. And the world, used to noise and performance, doesn't know what to make of a man who's simply unbothered, grounded, and content in his own truth. Number 2, he's antisocial, he skips the parties, avoids small talk. Not because he fears people, but because meaningless interaction drains him. This is the mindset of a man who values depth over distraction. In a world obsessed with noise, likes, followers, and constant chatter, the Sigma male walks a quieter path. He's not shy, he's not rude, he's just selective. Neuroscience even backs this up. Studies on introverted brain activity reveal that such individuals have a higher sensitivity to dopamine, the brain's reward chemical. What energizes a social butterfly, like a loud party, can overstimulate someone like him, causing fatigue instead of excitement. So when he steps away from social gatherings, it's not a retreat, it's a reset. He values solitude because it's in silence that he hears his clearest thoughts. And when he does engage, it's never half-hearted. He doesn't do fake laughs, forced small talk, or the empty surface level "how have you been" chats. Instead, he listens with intent, speaks with purpose, and seeks conversations that matter. Those that tap into truth, philosophy, personal growth, or even shared vulnerabilities. That's where his energy flows, and it's not arrogance, it's alignment. He's aligned with authenticity. He understands that not every moment needs to be filled and not every person needs to be pleased. To him, a genuine connection, even with one person, is far more rewarding than mingling with a crowd that never really sees him. That's why he'd rather spend his night reading a book that challenges his perspective, hiking in silence with his own thoughts, or having a deep one-on-one with someone who truly gets him. Society may label him aloof, mysterious, or distant, but the truth is, he's deeply present in the moments that actually matter. While others chase attention, he chases meaning, and that's the difference. In the grand theater of human interaction, he's not trying to play every role or be liked by every audience. He's just there for the real scenes, the ones that leave you thinking, feeling, and growing. Number 3, he thinks he's better than everyone. The Sigma male's independence is like a spark in a dry forest. It doesn't take much for it to ignite the insecurities of the collective, what we often call the herd. In a society that praises conformity, obedience, and social validation, the Sigma stands as an anomaly. He doesn't play by the same rules, and that alone makes him suspicious in the eyes of those who rely on external approval to define their worth. The system, which thrives on predictability and control, sees his detachment as a threat. Why? Because systems are designed to manage behavior, and you can't manage a man who refuses to be caged. But here's the twist. He's not out to destroy the system. He's not trying to be superior, he simply seeks freedom. That freedom is internal, not performative. While others chase rank, applause, and visibility, the Sigma moves silently, guided by principles and a personal compass. His journey doesn't require a map approved by society, nor does it follow timelines enforced by tradition. And because of that, people project their fears onto him. They mistake his silence for arrogance, his solitude for sadness, and his confidence for rebellion. But that's only because they don't understand his path, because it was never built for them. Just like wolves aren't meant to walk with sheep, Sigma males weren't designed to blend into the crowd. They think differently, they feel deeply but don't wear it like a badge. They're calculated, not cold, reserved, not broken. In fact, psychological studies suggest that Sigma-type personalities score high on emotional intelligence, an internal locus of control, meaning they believe they are the architects of their own destiny, not victims of external forces. It's this mindset that allows them to thrive in chaos, while others crumble. And while most are seeking permission to live, the Sigma simply lives, not loudly, not recklessly, but authentically. And that authenticity in a world addicted to imitation is what makes him truly dangerous, not to others, but to the illusions they cling to. Because the moment you see someone living freely without seeking approval, you're forced to confront your own limitations, and that's what truly unsettles the herd. Number 4, he's cold because he doesn't wear his emotions on his sleeve. People often assume he feels nothing, but that assumption couldn't be further from the truth. What you're seeing isn't a lack of emotion, it's emotional discipline. He feels deeply, perhaps more than most, but his reactions are calculated, not impulsive. He doesn't flinch at every provocation or break down at every disappointment. Instead, he processes his emotions internally like a scientist in a lab, analyzing each feeling before deciding what to do with it. This isn't coldness, it's mastery. While others are quick to shout, lash out, or break down, he remains composed, calm, and intentional. Psychology calls this emotional regulation, a skill linked to higher emotional intelligence and stronger leadership. In fact, studies in neuroscience have shown that people who take time to regulate emotions rather than reacting immediately tend to make better long-term decisions and experience less regret. He's not avoiding emotion, he's harnessing it, When chaos erupts around him, he doesn't become part of the noise. Instead, he becomes the anchor. That's why his presence is often felt even in silence. People are drawn to him not because he demands attention, but because he embodies stability. When others explode in a heated debate, he waits, he listens. Then when the room quiets down and all the noise fades, he speaks, and people listen. Not because he's loud, but because his words are deliberate, they carry weight. This is the hallmark of a man who understands power isn't in yelling the loudest, but in knowing when to speak and when to stay silent. It's not about bottling things up either. He processes his emotions privately through reflection, solitude, and sometimes in creative or physical outlets. In a world where everyone is encouraged to let it all out, he's mastered the rare art of keeping it together. And that's not repression, it's refinement. His emotional detachment isn't a defect, it's armor, not to push people away, but to protect his focus, his energy, and his purpose. The world may call him aloof, but in reality, he's just tuned into something deeper, something most people miss while they're busy reacting to every passing storm. Number 5, he's emotionally damaged. He's not heartless. That's a common misconception about men who value their solitude, especially Sigma males, those lone wolves of society who thrive outside the conventional social hierarchy. To many, his silence feels cold, his distance feels dismissive, and his independence feels like rejection. But in reality, he's not emotionally vacant. He just doesn't need constant validation, small talk, or digital dopamine to feel whole. While others measure their worth by likes, group chats, or weekend plans, he finds contentment in stillness. Psychology suggests that people who are comfortable with solitude often have a stronger sense of self-awareness, emotional regulation, and internal motivation. Solitude isn't a wound he's nursing, it's his sanctuary, his workshop, where ideas are born, peace is restored, and purpose is recalibrated. Unlike extroverts who refuel through interaction, Sigma males recharge by withdrawing, not as a defense mechanism, but as a lifestyle choice rooted in clarity and self-preservation. He's not running from people, he's returning to himself. And this return is sacred. Studies in behavioral science reveal that people who spend intentional time alone experience less anxiety, are more productive, and make better decisions. But his quiet unnerves the world. Why? Because many fear the silence he embraces. They've never met the sound of their own soul without the noise of the crowd. His silence forces others to confront their own chaos, and that's uncomfortable. In a society addicted to distraction, a man who walks calmly into solitude is viewed with suspicion. But look deeper. He's not avoiding life, he's mastering it on his terms. He chooses depth over noise, truth over popularity, and peace over performance. His world may not be loud, but it's full. And while they chase connections to feel alive, he builds a connection with himself that no one can take away. So the next time they call him distant, stoic, or detached, remember, he's simply not afraid of the silence, because in that silence, he's not lost, he's home. Number 6, he's intimidating. He doesn't posture, doesn't flex, doesn't bark, and yet, when he enters a room, something changes. People might not know why they glance up, why conversations pause for a split second, or why they instinctively notice him even if he hasn't said a word. It's not bravado, it's not showmanship. It's the quiet authority of someone who's mastered stillness. In a world that rewards noise and celebrates performative confidence, this kind of presence stands out like a whisper in a hurricane. Stillness is power. It signals control, discipline, and self-assuredness. Psychologically, it's been observed that individuals who speak less and move with purpose are perceived as more competent and dominant. This isn't about arrogance or aloofness, it's about internal grounding. The Sigma male, often described as the lone wolf of social hierarchies, embodies this principle fully. He doesn't need validation, approval, or applause. His confidence is not inflated, it's earned and therefore unshakable. Power that doesn't speak paradoxically echoes louder because it forces others to lean in, to observe, to wonder. There's a natural magnetism in restraint. Think of historical figures like Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, who ruled one of the largest empires in history with calm deliberation and thoughtful silence. Or modern examples like Keanu Reeves, whose soft-spoken demeanor and humility command far more respect than any chest-thumping celebrity. In fact, studies in behavioral psychology have shown that those who practice composed silence and strategic speech often lead more effectively, as people interpret their words as carrying more weight. It's the law of contrast. When everyone else is shouting, the one who whispers becomes unforgettable. So while the world clamors for attention, the man rooted in stillness doesn't chase it, he attracts it. And not because he demands it, but because people sense a force within him they can't quite explain. It's not about what he's doing, it's about what he's not doing. He's not performing, he's simply being, anchored, alert, aware. That's why his presence shifts the energy of the room. It's the echo of unspoken power, reverberating louder than any shout ever could. Number 7. He's untrustworthy. People trust the predictable, the familiar, the echo chamber that reassures them they're not alone in their thoughts, their habits, or their fears. Society finds comfort in routine, in people who fit a mold and follow the script. That's why Sigma males unsettle so many. The Sigma isn't predictable. He's the wild card in a world obsessed with patterns. He's not interested in small talk or superficial validation. He doesn't explain every move he makes, and he certainly doesn't feel the need to overshare the way others do just to feel accepted. This confuses people. In a society where vulnerability is often performed for attention, where relatability is currency, the Sigma's silence feels like rebellion, so people assume he must be hiding something. They whisper, they speculate, they fill in the blanks with their own projections. But the truth is simpler. He's not hiding anything. He's protecting everything, his thoughts, his peace, his values, and most of all, his identity. This behavior isn't rooted in arrogance, it's strategic. Studies in psychology show that humans have a tendency toward we believe others can sense what we're thinking or feeling. But Sigmas operate in reverse. They intentionally obscure their inner world, not to manipulate, but to preserve it. They understand that most people listen to respond, not to understand. So why throw pearls before swine? Why expose something sacred to people who won't get it, or worse, weaponize it? Instead, Sigmas let their actions speak. They don't make promises they can't keep or boast about what they're going to do. They do it, they live it. And if you're paying attention, you'll see it, because trust to a Sigma is not handed out like candy on Halloween. It's forged slowly, in silence and consistency. The Sigma male walks through life with the quiet confidence of someone who has nothing to prove, but everything to protect. He's not part of the echo chamber. He's the static that disrupts it, and in a world that demands your attention, your loyalty, and your soul, his resistance to overexposure is not only rare, it's powerful. Number 8, he got lucky. They never saw the isolation. The Sigma male's journey begins not in the spotlight, but in solitude. While others were out seeking validation, he was in the shadows, crafting his character. They never noticed the discipline, those grueling early mornings and relentless late nights spent learning, planning, and improving. There were no witnesses to the 10,000 quiet choices he made, the skipped parties, the hours in the gym when no one was watching, the decision to read a book instead of scrolling aimlessly. These weren't dramatic, showy acts of self-improvement. They were deliberate moves in a long game of mastery. Because the Sigma male doesn't broadcast his hustle. He doesn't post his every achievement for likes. He doesn't crave attention, he craves freedom. And freedom for him is earned through self-discipline, not self-promotion. The world doesn't understand this kind of man because he doesn't fit the mold. He doesn't chase status or engage in pointless social hierarchies. Instead, he builds substance layer by layer. He acquires skills, not clout. He invests in knowledge, not followers. In a society obsessed with image, he becomes the anomaly, the outlier who grows in silence. And when he rises, suddenly, powerfully, it confuses the very people who once laughed at his stillness. They didn't see the silent grind. They didn't hear the internal wars he fought and won. But now, they can't ignore his presence. What makes the Sigma male's greatness so unique is that it's not loud or boastful. It's enduring. Studies in behavioral psychology show that intrinsic motivation, the drive that comes from within, often leads to more sustainable success than external validation. This is exactly what fuels the Sigma. His success isn't meant to impress others. It's a byproduct of who he became while no one was watching. His legacy is not built on volume, but on value. His energy doesn't demand the room, it changes it. He proves that true power doesn't have to shout, it just has to last. And by the time the world notices, it's already too late to catch up, because while they were busy being seen, he was busy becoming. To the outside world, the Sigma male often appears arrogant, cold, and mysterious, an enigma that defies conventional social molds. But this perception is more projection than reality. Society tends to fear what it can't categorize, and the Sigma's independence, self-mastery, and refusal to conform unsettle those who rely on group validation. His solitude isn't loneliness, it's strength. His silence isn't arrogance, it's depth. The truth is, people label what they can't control. Sigma males were never meant to fit in, they were meant to stand out. And in doing so, they become unforgettable. Stay curious, be unseen, be unfazed, be unforgettable. This is Brain Boosters. She tested his patience one too many times, now the mask is off. What happens when a Sigma male, known for his calm and quiet demeanor, decides he's done playing nice? When a Sigma stops tolerating nonsense, the world finally sees the storm he's been hiding in silence. Sigmas, welcome. Today's topic is, when a Sigma male is done playing nice, here's what happens. Let's break this down. Sigma males are often misunderstood. They're not aloof because they lack emotion. They're observant, calculating, and intentional. According to psychologist John A. Johnson, introverted yet confident personalities tend to be more emotionally intelligent and self-regulated. This is the essence of the Sigma. A Sigma's tolerance isn't a sign of weakness, it's strategy. He picks his battles, avoids unnecessary drama, and lives by his own code. But once that code is violated too many times, whether through manipulation, disrespect, or betrayal, he shifts gears. And no, it's not some theatrical meltdown, it's subtle but surgical. The Sigma detaches, he stops engaging, he doesn't shout, he exits. This silence speaks louder than words. That's when people feel the weight of his absence. This transformation is often mistaken for coldness. In reality, it's power. When a Sigma stops being nice, he starts being real, asserting boundaries, saying no without guilt, and walking away without looking back. It's not revenge, it's recalibration. And the ripple effect, massive. People who took his patience for granted suddenly scramble for his attention. Toxic individuals are cut off. His energy gets redirected toward personal growth, financial goals, and mastery. This isn't about ego, it's about reclaiming peace. So if you've pushed a Sigma too far, don't expect a warning shot. Expect silence. And that silence is where his power lives. He doesn't need to prove himself to anyone, he simply disappears and levels up. Point 1, the silent build-up. When most people get disrespected, they bark, they raise their voices, clap back, argue, or storm out. It's an emotional reaction, a primal defense against perceived threat, but not Sigma males. When Sigmas get disrespected, they don't bark, they watch, and they wait. You see, the Sigma male operates on a different wavelength. He's not interested in winning petty arguments or putting on a performance to show dominance. Instead, his reaction is internal and strategic. He observes behavior, registers inconsistencies, and silently recalibrates how he engages with you. This isn't passivity, it's power under control. Psychologically speaking, Sigma males embody traits of high emotional intelligence and restraint. According to a 2009 study published in Individuals with high emotional self-regulation tend to perform better in social conflict resolution, not by confrontation, but by managing their own impulses and gathering information. That's what Sigmas do. They don't need the last word. They want the response at the right time. In fact, their silence is often mistaken for weakness. People assume that if someone doesn't fight back immediately, they're submissive or afraid, but Sigmas don't care about your assumptions. What you're actually witnessing is their testing phase. They're analyzing. Was that disrespect a slip-up or a pattern? Was it rooted in insecurity or is it a sign of disloyalty? While others are busy yelling, the Sigma is taking notes. And then comes the twist. You never know what chapter of their story you're in until they shut the book. That's when the Sigma disappears, disconnects, or redefines the entire dynamic. No drama, no speeches, just silence and absence. And by the time you realize what happened, it's already too late. What makes this response so effective? It's the embodiment of the principle, don't tell them them. Sigmas withdraw their energy and access, two things people often don't realize they relied on until it's gone. This approach mirrors Stoic teachings from philosophers like Epictetus, who said it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. That's a Sigma's secret. calculated restraint. So the next time a Sigma gets disrespected and doesn't respond, don't assume it's because he didn't notice. He noticed. He just doesn't need to make noise, because while others are still shouting on the surface, the Sigma is preparing a move beneath it all, quietly, purposefully, and with full awareness of the cost and outcome. It's not weakness, it's war, played in silence. Point 2, the cold withdrawal. Here's the twist. When a Sigma male is done, there's no warning, no grand speech, no dramatic exit, just silence. And that's exactly what makes it so unnerving. Most people need closure. They argue, they beg, they fire off long texts, hoping to be heard. But a Sigma male, he vanishes without a ripple. One minute you're in his world, the next it's like you never existed. No drama, no confrontation, just gone. This isn't avoidance, it's resolution. Sigma males are emotionally detached once they reach their threshold. They don't erupt in rage or chase explanations. Why? Because long before you ever noticed something was wrong, they already did their internal audit. Quietly, logically, weeks or months in advance. By the time they walk away, the emotional processing is complete. What you're witnessing isn't a reaction, it's execution. That's why it stings. It's not messy, it's clean. It doesn't feed your ego with a final fight or give you the satisfaction of closure. And that's where Sigma males gain the upper hand. When someone storms off in anger, they still want you to chase. But when someone disappears in silence, that's when you know they've truly let go. Psychologists call this silent boundary enforcement. It's a self-protective behavior seen in highly independent and introverted individuals, those who prefer peace over chaos. Studies on conflict resolution confirm this. People who score high on self-reliance and introversion are more likely to walk away from conflict instead of engaging in it. It's not passive-aggressive, it's deliberate and final. Sigma males don't ghost out of fear, they disengage when something violates their values or peace. And the wild part, they don't seek closure from anyone but themselves. They don't need apologies or understanding to move on. They just decide. Their silence becomes a mirror, forcing others to confront what they've done, not because they're told to, but because the sudden absence is deafening. That's the Sigma power. When they close the book, they never reopen it. Point 3, the shift in energy. Sigmas don't chase, they replace. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. Sigma males are wired differently. When something or someone disrupts their peace, they don't explode. They evolve. The moment a Sigma stops playing nice, it's like a switch flips. Instead of wasting energy on explaining themselves, proving their worth, or begging for basic respect, they go silent. But don't mistake that silence for weakness. It's the sound of a storm forming beneath the surface. Sigmas redirect their energy inward. They level up, whether it's hitting the gym, starting a new business, mastering a skill, or diving into solitude and reflection. They begin to rebuild from the inside out. Psychology calls this the ability to respond to stress, not with breakdown, but with growth. While others post online to prove a point, the Sigma disappears from the noise. Behind the scenes, he's grinding, quietly, consistently, strategically, and here's where the shift happens. Ex-friends start to feel the void. That calm, grounded presence they once took for granted, gone. And in its place, a gnawing realization they underestimated him. Toxic people feel exposed. Why? Because without the Sigma's energy to manipulate or guilt trip, their games no longer work. The spotlight turns inward, revealing their own dysfunction. Meanwhile, the Sigma doesn't feel anger, regret, or revenge. He feels focus. Neuroscience supports this too. When someone is highly self-regulated and goal-oriented, their prefrontal cortex activates more intensely, heightening discipline and decision-making. And here's the kicker. That quiet intensity, it becomes magnetic. Without chasing anyone, the Sigma starts attracting everything. People notice his absence, and more importantly, his glow-up. What once seemed like detachment is now clearly strength. What seemed passive is now power in motion. This is the Sigma blueprint. Don't chase, don't beg, just rise and replace. Because when a Sigma male is done playing nice, the world doesn't just miss him, it watches him ascend. Point 4, the domino effect on others. When a Sigma stops playing nice, it doesn't just cause ripples, it sends shockwaves through the emotional ecosystem of everyone who once underestimated him. You see, Sigma males operate differently. They're not driven by a need for approval, validation, or applause. They move quietly, observe intently, and act only when necessary. But when that calm presence suddenly goes cold, It flips the psychological script for those around them. People start overthinking, second-guessing every moment. Was I the problem? Why did he cut me off? Why isn't he reacting? This isn't just drama, it's cognitive dissonance. Psychologically, humans are wired to seek closure. When we don't get a reaction from someone we expect to engage, our brains go into overdrive trying to solve the silence. It's called the Zeigarnik effect, a phenomenon where people remember uncompleted or interrupted interactions more vividly than completed ones. So when a Sigma walks away without fanfare, it triggers emotional turmoil in those who never expected consequences. And the most unsettling part, the Sigma doesn't explain, he doesn't lash out, he doesn't beg, plead, or even clarify. His silence, it's a mirror, a confrontation not with him, but with oneself. His absence becomes louder than most people's presence. Why? Because we tend to undervalue quiet strength until it's gone. Most people are used to noise, attention-seeking, emotional outbursts. But when someone who used to listen, tolerate, and show restraint suddenly withdraws that energy, the emotional vacuum becomes undeniable. It's like removing the anchor from a ship. It starts drifting, lost and directionless. And here's the kicker. Sigmas don't withdraw to punish others. They do it to protect their peace. When respect is lost, tolerance has limits. When boundaries are crossed, the Sigma doesn't escalate. He evaporates. This is where power lies. Not in loud confrontation, but in silent transformation. So when a Sigma male stops playing nice, it's not revenge, it's a reset. He's reminding everyone that his calm demeanor was a choice, not a weakness. And now that the mask is off, the emotional economy collapses for those who thought they'd never have to pay for their actions. Because the Sigma's silence, it says everything they refused to hear when he was still speaking. Point 5, the birth of a new era. Here's the beautiful part. When a Sigma walks away from nonsense, he's not just making an exit, he's making an upgrade. See, most people think walking away is a sign of weakness or avoidance, but for the Sigma male, it's the complete opposite. It's a conscious decision to evolve. When he cuts ties with people, it's never impulsive or emotional. He's not ghosting for the sake of drama. He's pruning his environment. And what he's really cutting off, old patterns, toxic habits, and self-imposed limitations that no longer serve him. This isn't about being cold. It's about being clear. Clarity becomes the Sigma's new compass. It directs him away from distractions and toward direction. Science even backs this idea. Studies in behavioral psychology show that removing negative influences from your life can significantly boost focus, self-control, and emotional resilience. And that's exactly what the Sigma is after. He begins redirecting his energy toward higher pursuits, physical health, mental discipline, and long-term goals. He's not lounging in the silence, he's working in it. Gym sessions replace gossip. Early mornings replace late-night regrets, books replace arguments, and with every passing day he sharpens his tools, his intellect, his emotional control, his instincts. He upgrades his environment, mindset, and mission. This rebirth is quiet, but it's revolutionary. Think of it like a software update. The outer appearance doesn't change much, but inside he's faster, smarter, more resilient. He no longer bends for approval. He no longer negotiates his value. He no longer explains his peace. In psychology, this kind of transformation is known as a radical self-realignment, a powerful shift where an individual rewires their habits and identity to align with their highest potential. And that's what the Sigma male does when he walks away from nonsense. He evolves. He levels up. He becomes a man of intention, no longer shaped by the world around him, but by the clarity within him. Point 6, the unapologetic standards. When Sigmas stop playing nice, they don't make a loud announcement. They don't throw a tantrum. They simply, quietly, powerfully, and with intention. What does that mean? It means they start enforcing standards without saying a single word. No debates, no justifications, no emotional outbursts. They stop laughing at jokes they don't find funny. They stop showing up for people who don't show up for them. They stop responding to texts that feel forced, superficial, or manipulative. It's not anger, it's alignment. You see, Sigma males operate on an internal code. They're introspective, self-aware, and deeply observant. Psychology calls this trait high self-monitoring, the ability to read social cues without being controlled by them. When Sigmas decide they're done entertaining flaky people, fake intentions, or empty conversations, they don't burn bridges. They just stop building them. And this scares people. Why? because most people are used to boundaries being loud, dramatic, and followed by explanations. But Sigma boundaries are different. They're invisible walls, firm, quiet, and absolute. No, hey, I don't like that. No, here's why I'm distancing myself. Just silence, detachment, distance, and that silence is deafening. Studies in behavioral psychology show that unpredictability and lack of closure can cause more anxiety than open conflict. When someone suddenly stops responding or pulls back without a word, it creates confusion. People don't know whether they've been judged, ignored, or outgrown. And for many, that uncertainty is unbearable. But for a Sigma, it's not about punishing others. It's about protecting peace. He aligns with his values, and if someone doesn't fit that frequency, he quietly exits. No drama, no guilt, just growth. This is why Sigmas are often misunderstood. Their silence is mistaken for arrogance. Their absence is mistaken for coldness, but in reality they're simply focused on truth, authenticity, and energy that feels right. So when a Sigma stops playing nice, don't look for signs of rage. Look for signs of resolve. He's not lashing out, he's leveling up. And the world, especially the people who used to take his kindness for granted, can feel the shift, even if they can't explain it. That's the Sigma way. Quiet, calculated, unapologetically real. Point 7, the untouchable mindset. When a Sigma male is done playing nice, something profound happens. He becomes untouchable. Not in the sense of arrogance or superiority, but in a way that reflects deep clarity and emotional mastery. This transformation is rooted in psychology, stoicism, and lived experience. Let's break it down. First, understand that Sigma males are lone wolves, independent thinkers who don't crave social approval, but even they can be pushed too far. When that threshold is crossed, a mental switch flips. The Sigma detaches, not out of bitterness, but out of necessity. He's done explaining himself, done tolerating manipulation, done entertaining emotional chaos. Manipulation tactics, whether it's gaslighting, guilt-tripping, or passive aggressiveness, lose their power over him. Why? Because he no longer reacts. Reaction is fuel for manipulation, and he's pulled the plug. This is supported by the concept of emotional detachment in psychology, a skill often taught in therapy to help individuals maintain boundaries and reduce emotional burnout. The Sigma embodies this skill naturally. Guilt trips, denied. He doesn't let others weaponize his empathy anymore. Instead of feeling guilty for choosing peace, he sees it as self-respect. That shift may unsettle those who once relied on his people-pleasing nature, but it's a necessary evolution. Validation-seeking becomes irrelevant. He no longer needs applause or external approval to feel worthy. According to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, self-actualization sits at the top. This is where the Sigma now operates. His sense of identity is internal, not defined by others. And perhaps the most important shift, he's now mission-driven. Everything he does is intentional, whether it's building a business, improving himself, or simply enjoying solitude. He's laser-focused. He's not avoiding emotions, he's just prioritizing purpose. This detachment makes him powerful and a bit unsettling. People sense the change. The once agreeable Sigma is now cool, measured, and unshakable. He's no longer a safety net for others' dysfunction. He's not cruel, just clear. And clarity, that's scary for those who can't control it. So when a Sigma male is done playing nice, it's not a declaration of war, it's a quiet revolution. He didn't become heartless, he became free. Point 8. The world finally takes notice. When a Sigma male is done playing nice, something profound happens. He becomes untouchable. Not in the sense of arrogance or superiority, but in a way that reflects deep clarity and emotional mastery. This transformation is rooted in psychology, stoicism, and lived experience. Let's break it down. First, understand that Sigma males are lone wolves, independent thinkers who don't crave social approval, but even they can be pushed too far. When that threshold is crossed, a mental switch flips. The Sigma detaches, not out of bitterness, but out of necessity. He's done explaining himself, done tolerating manipulation, done entertaining emotional chaos. Manipulation tactics, whether it's gaslighting, guilt-tripping, or passive aggressiveness, lose their power over him. Why? Because he no longer reacts. Reaction is fuel for manipulation, and he's pulled the plug. This is supported by the concept of emotional detachment in psychology, a skill often taught in therapy to help individuals maintain boundaries and reduce emotional burnout. The Sigma embodies this skill naturally. Guilt trips, denied. He doesn't let others weaponize his empathy anymore. Instead of feeling guilty for choosing peace, he sees it as self-respect. That shift may unsettle those who once relied on his people-pleasing nature, but it's a necessary evolution. Validation-seeking becomes irrelevant. He no longer needs applause or external approval to feel worthy. According to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, self-actualization sits at the top. This is where the Sigma now operates. His sense of identity is internal, not defined by others. And perhaps the most important shift, he's now mission-driven. Everything he does is intentional. Whether it's building a business, improving himself, or simply enjoying solitude, he's laser-focused. He's not avoiding emotions, he's just prioritizing purpose. This detachment makes him powerful and a bit unsettling. People sense the change. The once agreeable Sigma is now cool, measured, and unshakable. He's no longer a safety net for others' dysfunction. He's not cruel, just clear. And clarity, that's scary for those who can't control it. So when a Sigma male is done playing nice, it's not a declaration of war, it's a quiet revolution. He didn't become heartless. He became free. Being nice is a choice, but so is walking away. And when a Sigma finally chooses to protect his peace over pleasing others, he unlocks a level of power most people never touch. So if you're a Sigma watching this, stop apologizing for evolving. Stop explaining your silence. Stop watering down your worth. Your power lies in your discipline, your detachment, and your decision to never settle. Because when you're done playing nice, you start playing real. And that's when everything changes. Sigmas, this is your reminder to own your journey. If this video spoke to your soul, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe to join a community of thinkers, lone wolves, and leaders who don't just exist, they impact. Apply these Sigma traits to your life and watch the world adjust to your new frequency. Stay true and stay Sigma. Sigmas. What happens when the quietest man in the room finally gets his heart shattered? Does he cry? Does he beg? Or does he disappear and come back as something unrecognizable? Here's the truth. When a Sigma male gets heartbroken, it's not just painful, it's terrifying, because heartbreak doesn't break a Sigma. It him. Piece by piece, quietly, relentlessly. Let's break it down. A Sigma male is already a lone wolf, independent, self-sufficient, and deeply introspective. He doesn't love lightly. When he gives someone access to his guarded world, it's rare. So when that trust is betrayed, the aftermath isn't dramatic, it's internal, it's strategic, it's silent warfare. Unlike others who spiral in public displays of sorrow, Sigmas retreat, not out of weakness, but to reconstruct. Neuropsychologists explain that highly self-aware individuals process emotional pain by detaching, reflecting, and recalibrating their internal world. That's exactly what a Sigma does. He vanishes from social circles, cuts the noise, and starts upgrading every part of himself, physically, mentally, financially. He doesn't post cryptic breakup quotes or jump into rebound flings. No, he hits the gym harder. He masters a new skill. He stacks his goals like dominoes and knocks them down one by one. This transformation is fueled not by revenge, but evolution. And here's the twist. When he resurfaces, he's sharper, stronger, completely redefined. That quiet man, he now walks like a storm with a calm face, and those who broke him, they barely recognize him. Studies on post-traumatic growth show that emotionally intelligent men who experience deep heartbreak often return more resilient, goal-driven, and emotionally mature. Sigma males embody that phenomenon to the core. So what happens when the quietest man in the room gets his heart shattered? He doesn't crumble, he evolves. He doesn't come back for closure. He comes back as the best version of himself, and the world had better be ready. Number 1, the myth of the emotionless Sigma. Let's clear something up right off the bat. Sigma males aren't emotionless robots. We're not cold-hearted. In fact, it's the of emotion that makes heartbreak so dangerous for us. Unlike other men who might vent their emotions openly or seek comfort in a crowd, Sigma males internalize everything. It's not about denial, it's about processing. When a Sigma gets hurt, he doesn't explode, he implodes, quietly, privately, intentionally. This can confuse outsiders. To the world, it looks like we're fine, maybe even indifferent, but under the surface, it's like a dormant volcano, silently building pressure. There's sorrow, there's reflection, and yes, there's fury, but not the kind that lashes out. It's the kind that fuels transformation. You see, Sigmas have a unique emotional intelligence that's often underestimated. Studies in personality psychology suggest that introverted and self-reliant individuals, traits strongly associated with the Sigma archetype, process emotional pain through introspection rather than expression. We replay events in our minds, we analyze what went wrong, and we don't move on until we've extracted the lesson. This is both our gift and our curse. On one hand, we don't make impulsive decisions out of heartbreak. We don't fall into rebound relationships or self-destructive behavior. On the other hand, we can disappear. We go dark. We pull away from the world, not because we're weak, but because healing for a Sigma is a solitary mission. And what comes out on the other side of that mission? That's the terrifying part for everyone else, because heartbreak doesn't destroy us, it evolves us. Like steel in the fire, we come back colder, sharper, more focused. And when we re-emerge, we're not the same man, we've upgraded. So next time you wonder why a Sigma male goes silent after heartbreak, don't mistake his quiet for indifference. It's not that he's unaffected, it's that he's in the lab, rebuilding his armor, rewriting his rules, and preparing to rise stronger than before. In silence we heal, in solitude we rebuild, and in pain we awaken. That's the Sigma way. Number 2, why Sigma males fall so hard. Here's the deal. Sigma males don't fall in love the way most people do. We're not diving headfirst into relationships just because someone smiles at us or gives us attention. No, Sigmas are thinkers first, feelers second. We observe from a distance. We study behavior, we look for patterns, we test your intentions. And only if you pass those silent evaluations do we start to open up. But when we fall, it's not casual. It's not surface level, it's deep, intense, and rare. A Sigma male doesn't love halfway. He gives you the full experience, unfiltered loyalty, honest vulnerability, undivided attention, and a mind that's constantly figuring out how to protect and uplift you. It's a kind of love that feels almost sacred because it's so seldom given. Now here's where it gets serious. When that love is betrayed or broken, something inside a Sigma doesn't just get sad, it transforms. But not in the way you'd expect. We're not yelling in the rain or posting sad songs on social media. No, it's far more chilling than that. We go silent. You see, Sigma males are introverted alphas. We don't need the spotlight, but we command respect. Our silence after heartbreak isn't about avoidance. It's a recalibration. It's the storm before the reinvention. Neurologically, Sigmas tend to engage the prefrontal cortex more often, the region responsible for reflection and planning. So when things go wrong emotionally, we don't spiral. We strategize. We analyze what broke us, and then we rebuild, but stronger, more focused, more dangerous in a good way. That heartbreak becomes fuel for ambition, discipline, and self-evolution. We channel pain into progress. It's like heartbreak unlocks a hidden level inside us, a level that's sharper, colder, but unshakably determined. This is why losing a Sigma is often someone's biggest regret. We weren't just a fling or a phase, we were the calm storm they didn't know how to handle, and once we're gone, we don't come back. We disappear into a new version of ourselves, and that version doesn't tolerate betrayal twice. So no, Sigmas don't fall easily, but when we do and when it breaks, it doesn't destroy us, it upgrades us. Number 3, the quiet disappearance ghost mode activated. When heartbreak hits, a Sigma male doesn't broadcast his pain. There's no dramatic Instagram post or teary late-night rant. No cryptic tweets or public self-pity. He vanishes, just like that. Disappears from group chats, skips hangouts, and detaches from the digital noise. But make no mistake, this isn't a breakdown, it's a reset. You see, Sigmas are wired differently. They're lone wolves by nature, often choosing solitude over attention. And when pain knocks on their door, they don't open it for sympathy, they use it as fuel. This phase, what many call ghost mode, isn't isolation, it's incubation. It's where the real metamorphosis begins. In psychology, this aligns with the concept of post-traumatic growth, where adversity becomes a catalyst for self-improvement. Studies show that individuals who process emotional setbacks in solitude often emerge more resilient, self-aware, and driven. That's exactly what a Sigma male does. He doesn't retreat to feel sorry for himself, he retreats to reforge his identity. The gym becomes his therapy chamber, not for vanity, but discipline. Exercise, proven to release endorphins and reduce cortisol, helps him regulate stress and rebuild confidence. Books replace small talk. In those pages, he sharpens his mind, absorbs wisdom, and cultivates inner peace. Business ideas replace fantasy. Instead of replaying painful memories, he channels energy into purpose, whether it's launching a project, mastering a skill, or planning his next move. This phase is quiet, but powerful. Like a snake shedding its skin, the Sigma uses pain to grow. He upgrades his mindset, his habits, and his future. And when he finally returns from ghost mode, he's not the same man. He's better, stronger, wiser, more focused. To the world, it looks like he just disappeared. But behind the scenes, he was evolving. So the next time a Sigma male vanishes after heartbreak, don't assume he's broken. He's rebuilding, brick by brick, in silence. And trust this, when he comes back, the world will notice. Number 4, the self-reflection phase, turning pain into wisdom. Unlike most, Sigma males don't just move on, they evolve. Every heartbreak becomes a lesson. Every betrayal becomes a blueprint. Sigma males process pain differently, while others may seek comfort or distraction. Sigmas retreat into solitude, not to escape, but to rebuild. This isn't about nursing wounds, it's about transformation. Heartbreak forces the Sigma into a silent self-audit where he questions not just what happened, but it happened, and what it revealed about his choices, values, and emotional blind spots. This is where it gets intense. Sigma males are introspective by nature, and heartbreak becomes fuel for inner recalibration. They start refining their standards, what they'll tolerate, who they'll let in, and what kind of energy they'll allow near them. Emotional boundaries get tighter. They don't just raise the bar, they the bar. According to psychological studies on emotional resilience, people who engage in reflective solitude often experience post-traumatic growth. For Sigmas, this is magnified. They're not just getting over someone, they're using the pain to unlock a more powerful version of themselves. And that's the terrifying part, because when a Sigma emerges from heartbreak, he doesn't come back the same. He comes back smarter, more emotionally fortified, and far more selective. He may still be quiet, but his silence is now laced with purpose. He may still observe from the shadows, but now with sharper eyes and a sharper mind. He becomes a man of strategy, one who's hard to fool, harder to manipulate, and impossible to break. Heartbreak doesn't break the Sigma, it upgrades him. It's like forging a blade. Fire doesn't destroy steel, it tempers it. The same goes for Sigmas. Pain doesn't weaken them, it makes them lethal in silence. They become the kind of man who walks into a room and doesn't have to say a word. Yet somehow everyone listens. So if you ever wonder what happens when a Sigma male gets heartbroken, understand this. He's not recovering, he's reinventing. And what rises from that emotional wreckage is not a broken man, but a silent storm you never saw coming. Number 5, the comeback, stronger, sharper, untouchable. Then out of nowhere he returns, but not the same. He's leaner, focused, his eyes sharper, his presence heavier. He doesn't seek revenge, he doesn't need closure. His growth, the revenge. This is not your typical heartbreak story. This is the Sigma male transformation arc, a psychological and emotional metamorphosis that defies the usual narrative. When a Sigma male gets heartbroken, he doesn't drown himself in distractions or spiral in self-pity. He doesn't parade his pain on social media or look for validation from the outside world. Instead, he retreats into the shadows, not to hide, but to, let's break this down. Sigma males are known for their independent nature, introspective thinking, and emotional self-sufficiency. According to psychologist Carl Jung's archetypes, Sigmas embody the lone wolf personality, someone who operates outside the dominance hierarchy, often detached but deeply observant. And when that kind of man gets hurt, he doesn't collapse, he recalibrates. Scientifically, heartbreak activates the same regions of the brain that physical pain does, the anterior cingulate cortex and the insular, but instead of being consumed by this pain, the Sigma male uses it as data. Pain becomes fuel. Betrayal becomes a blueprint. He'll hit the gym, not out of vanity, but discipline. He'll read more, not to escape, but to evolve. He'll refine his goals, not out of spite, but clarity. And one day, without warning, he resurfaces. He's not back to win her back. He's not back to show off. He's just back, better, upgraded. The heartbreak didn't break him. It rebooted him. It was never about revenge. It was always about transcendence. In a society obsessed with quick fixes and rebound relationships, the Sigma male takes the path least traveled: solitude, reflection, and self-mastery. And in that silence, he becomes something rare, something powerful. So the next time a Sigma disappears after heartbreak, don't assume he's shattered. Know this, he's sharpening. And when he returns, he won't be asking for closure. He the closure. Number 6, the emotional shift. Love isn't off the table, but here's the twist. Sigmas don't give up on love, we just get surgical about who gets access next. Let's break that down. When a Sigma male experiences heartbreak, it doesn't send him into a spiral of desperation. Instead, it sharpens him. Like a samurai who survives betrayal, he doesn't swear off the blade, he simply learns to wield it with more precision. That's what becoming is all about. Emotional minimalism isn't the absence of feelings, it's the intentional filtering of emotional investments. Sigmas aren't cold, they're cautious. Every word, every connection, every shared moment now goes through a quiet, invisible test. Psychologically, this is known as. After a painful experience, the brain naturally builds protective walls to avoid repeating trauma. According to studies in neuropsychology, our amygdala, the part of the brain that processes emotions, becomes more sensitive after emotional injury. In response, Sigma males evolve. They streamline their connections, not to isolate, but to preserve their peace. Now, they don't chase, they observe, they don't over-explain. They let people reveal themselves. And most importantly, they no longer trade their energy for surface-level affection. That's not bitterness. Think of it like cleaning out a cluttered hard drive. Sigmas remove the malware, those who drained them, ghosted them, or pretended to care, and upgrade their emotional operating system. They run leaner, faster, sharper. They begin to seek loyalty, not lust, depth, not drama, consistency, not chaos. And that makes them magnetic. Why? Because in a world where many are hungry for attention, the Sigma is content in silence, waiting for someone who speaks his language of depth and loyalty. So, no, Sigmas don't give up on love. They just level up their standards. Love still matters, but now... Number 7, humor in the dark. Let's be honest, somewhere in this process, we laugh at the red flags we ignored, like how she said she wasn't ready for a relationship while already treating you like a part-time husband with full-time emotional labor, or how her phone was always upside down, yet she swore she had nothing to hide. We laugh because deep down we know it was never about losing her, it was about finding ourselves. That's the Sigma's secret weapon, transformation through solitude. Here's the truth, heartbreak hits everyone, but Sigma males handle it differently. They don't rant on social media, they don't start posting gym selfies with vague captions like rising from the ashes. No, they vanish, not to sulk, but to rebuild. They go full Batman mode, low profile, high focus. The psychology behind this, it's the ability to convert emotional pain into productive energy. Napoleon Hill wrote about it. Carl Jung hinted at it. Sigmas live it. Science backs it up too. A 2007 study published in found that emotional pain lights up the same brain regions as physical pain. But here's where it gets interesting. Resilience, self-awareness, and a sense of purpose can literally dull the pain. That's Sigma territory. While others spiral into rebound relationships and seek validation, the Sigma male alchemizes heartbreak. He dives into new skills, new goals, and new mental frameworks. He might learn a language, start a business, move in silence. While she's posting TikToks with a new guy 3 weeks later, he's out here leveling up without saying a word. And yes, we laugh at the drama we escaped, at how she said, "You'll never find better," like she was a limited edition collectible. Meanwhile, we're sipping green tea, trading crypto, hitting cold plunges, and listening to Jordan Peterson interviews like they're mixtapes. This isn't bitterness, it's evolution. Sigma males aren't afraid of being alone because solitude is their sanctuary. It's where they recalibrate, reflect, reinvent. So if you're in that post-heartbreak phase, just remember this. Pain is temporary, but the glow-up is permanent. Especially when you stop chasing and start choosing yourself, because the ultimate flex is not revenge, it's reinvention. And if you can laugh along the way, even better. After all, turning pain into punchlines isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's the Sigma way. Lessons to take home. What every Sigma learns from heartbreak. Your emotional depth is a rare and powerful thing. It's your ability to feel, connect, and understand on a level that goes beyond surface conversations. But here's the hard truth. Depth isn't for everyone. Psychologists call this emotional intelligence, and not everyone develops it. Some people operate on shallow wavelengths. They're not wired to appreciate or reciprocate profound connection. So when you offer your depth to the wrong person, it can feel like casting pearls before swine. Save that depth for people who are capable of swimming, not those who panic in the deep end. Healthy relationships are built on mutual effort. Just because someone likes you or even says they love you doesn't mean you owe them the same in return. Real love involves time, trust, and respect, none of which can be demanded. According to relationship experts like Dr. John Gottman, lasting love is rooted in small, consistent actions that build over time. So no, love isn't a debt, it's a gift, and not everyone qualifies to receive it. Peace isn't just a vibe, it's a psychological need. Chronic stress from toxic relationships can lead to anxiety, insomnia, even heart problems. That's not drama, it's science. Your nervous system thrives in calm, safe environments. That's why letting go of someone who constantly disrupts your peace isn't selfish, it's survival. Protecting your peace isn't weakness, it's emotional maturity. Sometimes the best revenge isn't a dramatic exit speech, it's silence and success. When you level up, emotionally, spiritually, financially, you close chapters without saying a word. Growth becomes your statement. According to studies on post-traumatic growth, people who face hardship and channel it into personal development often come out stronger and more self-aware. That's the kind of closure no apology can compete with. Transformation isn't comfortable. Like gold refined by fire, you become more resilient by enduring hardship. Research shows that resilience is built through adversity, not comfort. The fire may burn, but it also reveals what you're made of. You don't just bounce back. You rebuild better, wiser, and stronger. But first, you have to face the flames. Sigmas. If this message resonated with you, if you've ever walked through heartbreak and came out sharper, wiser, and more unstoppable, then this is your community. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and join this tribe of men who don't settle, don't beg, and don't break. Apply the Sigma qualities to your life. Choose growth, choose silence, and choose self-respect. Stay true and stay Sigma. Hello, Sigmas. Ever encountered a Sigma empath? These are the masters of silent strength, intuitive warriors who can read a room in a heartbeat. But here's the shocker. Push them too far, and you'll awaken a power you never even imagined. Buckle up, because we're about to dive deep into the hidden world of Sigma empaths, and what happens when they finally snap. At first, they'll vanish like a ghost in the night. Sigma empaths are the embodiment of inner peace, until that peace is shattered. One moment, they're calmly watching from the sidelines. The next, they're gone, leaving behind an eerie stillness that rattles your very soul. Then comes the deathly stare, a piercing, ice-cold gaze that can stop your heart in its tracks. When a Sigma empath reaches their breaking point, their eyes reveal an unstoppable force, focused, fierce, and chilling enough to make you second-guess everything. And don't be fooled by their silence. In the world of Sigma empaths, quiet is their ultimate weapon. You'll feel the weight of that silence, an impenetrable wall that leaves you isolated, frozen, and desperate for answers. So here's your warning, Sigmas. Never underestimate a Sigma empath pushed past their limit. It's like stepping into a storm you thought was just a breeze, only to be swept away by its hidden fury. Stay tuned, because we're about to break it all down, piece by piece. Point 1, the calm before the storm. You've probably felt it. A hush falls over the world right before a thunderstorm cracks open the sky. That's the same vibe Sigma empaths give off when they're pushed too far. This moment of eerie silence isn't about them bottling up their emotions. No, it's something much more deliberate. Sigma empaths are masters of reading energy and intention. Unlike most people who might lash out impulsively when provoked, these individuals step back and become almost statuesque. During this pause, they're not just standing still, they're processing every detail, your tone, your body language, the hidden meanings behind your words. Their calm is a sign of heightened awareness. In psychological terms, this aligns with high levels of emotional intelligence, the ability to read and interpret emotional cues in others with remarkable accuracy. Think about it, this kind of perceptive quiet isn't random. It's the result of years spent honing their empathy and their observational skills. Studies in social psychology have shown that people with high emotional intelligence tend to pause and reflect before reacting, which allows them to respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively. That's exactly what's happening here. So when you see that silence from a Sigma empath, don't be fooled. It's not a sign of surrender or weakness. It's a calculated move, a moment of quiet analysis. It's almost like they're seeing you more clearly than you see yourself. And if you've crossed a line, that silence is your final warning to reconsider your actions. Because here's the kicker. Once that storm hits, there's no going back. Sigma empaths are strategic. Their response, if it comes, will be precise and powerful. They're not interested in petty drama. They're interested in resolution. And if that means cutting ties or standing their ground, they'll do it with a calm certainty that's even more intimidating than a shout. So the next time you sense that eerie calm in the air around a Sigma empath, pay attention. It's not just a mood, it's a message, and trust me, you'll want to heed it. Point 2, the power of boundaries. Sigma empaths have a built-in radar for detecting when someone is trying to cross the line. These boundaries aren't just polite requests, they're ironclad rules that protect their inner sanctum. Imagine an ancient fortress with towering walls, watchtowers scanning the horizon, and a moat that keeps intruders at bay. That's the world of a Sigma empath. But how do these boundaries work in practice? It's all about intuition and self-awareness. Sigma empaths are known for their uncanny ability to sense subtle shifts in energy, like when someone's kindness morphs into manipulation or when a conversation starts to feel like an interrogation. Psychology even backs this up. Studies show that people who are highly empathetic often have stronger emotional boundaries because they're attuned to their own feelings and needs. They understand that emotional health relies on protecting their own peace. So when that alarm system goes off, it's like the fortress gates slamming shut. They're not acting out of anger or spite. They're simply enforcing the rules that keep them grounded and safe. And once those boundaries are tested, there's no going back. Sigma empaths don't waste time with people who can't respect their fortress. Think of it like trying to sneak candy from a vending machine that's rigged with tripwires and an alarm system. You're not just dealing with a regular machine, you're up against a fortress of steel and determination. The person who tests those boundaries often finds themselves startled by the sudden unwavering resistance they meet. It's a powerful lesson for anyone who tries to push too far. In fact, this commitment to boundaries is a hallmark of the Sigma archetype, both men and women. They don't need to announce their walls. They simply exist, unshakable and unwavering. And because they know the value of inner peace, they're more than willing to defend it. So next time you see someone testing a Sigma empath's patience, remember they're not just saying no, they're saying, this is my fortress, respect it or move on. Point 3, emotional withdrawal, the silent retreat. Sigma empaths have an incredible ability to shut down emotionally when things get too chaotic. They don't argue, they don't scream, they don't beg for your understanding. Instead, they simply vanish from the emotional battlefield. It's like watching the tide slowly pull back from the shore, leaving nothing but silence and an empty stretch of sand. This isn't about being cold-hearted or avoiding conflict, it's about preserving their inner peace. For Sigma empaths, emotional energy is sacred, and they're not about to let it be drained by someone who doesn't value it. This behavior is actually rooted in psychology. Studies have shown that people who are highly empathic often struggle with emotional exhaustion if they're constantly exposed to negativity or drama. When pushed too far, their brain triggers a sort of self-protective shutdown. It's not that they don't care. It's that caring too much can become a liability if it's thrown into a one-sided or manipulative relationship. That's why Sigma empaths don't bother to argue when things get toxic. They know there's no point in feeding energy into a losing battle. You've probably experienced how awkward it feels when someone just stops responding mid-conversation. It's unsettling, almost like you're talking to thin air. That's the power of a Sigma empath's emotional withdrawal. They know how to make their absence louder than any argument or rant. In this silent retreat, they regain their strength and distance themselves from the chaos. It's not about winning or losing, it's about refusing to play the game altogether. This withdrawal can actually be a turning point in relationships. It forces the other person to pause and reflect, because when the drama's echoing in an empty room, it's hard to ignore the emptiness. The Sigma empath's quiet exit is a statement, I'm done engaging with this nonsense. It's a clean break, a refusal to pour more of their soul into a situation that's not worth it. So if you ever feel like you're losing a Sigma empath to silence, know this. It's not because they're giving up. It's because they're reclaiming their power. And in that stillness, they're finding their way back to what truly matters, their peace, their energy, and their worth. Point 4, the razor-sharp honesty. Sigma empaths don't like sugarcoating. When pushed too far, they stop holding back. They'll tell you exactly what's wrong in no uncertain terms. Sigma empaths are a fascinating blend of intuition and independence. Unlike traditional empaths who often aim to keep the peace, Sigma empaths have a strong sense of inner truth. They don't believe in sugarcoating because, to them, honesty is more valuable than flattery. Psychologists describe this as radical honesty, a trait linked to authenticity and self-awareness. Research suggests that people who practice radical honesty tend to have lower levels of stress and higher life satisfaction because they're not wasting energy on pretending. Sigma empaths are naturally observant. They're not impulsive talkers. They're quiet collectors of emotional data. Studies show that highly empathic individuals process emotional cues at a deeper level, often activating brain regions like the anterior insular and the anterior cingulate cortex, areas linked to emotional awareness and empathy. When Sigma empaths do speak, they're not throwing out random opinions. They've already measured the situation, fact-checked it in their minds, and decided it's time to speak up. This honesty can be disarming. While many people are accustomed to tactful phrases and half-truths, Sigma empaths don't see the point. They're not in the business of making you comfortable. They're in the business of making things clear. Social scientists note that this approach can actually strengthen relationships in the long run. Honest communication, even when it stings, builds trust. Sigma empaths understand this. They know that sugarcoating might spare someone's feelings today, but it usually leads to confusion and resentment later. So next time you're around a Sigma empath, don't be surprised if their words hit like a truth grenade. It's not an attack. It's a wake-up call. And in a world full of polite masks, a little brutal honesty can be the best medicine. Point 5, the cold shoulder treatment. Here's the thing, Sigmas. Sigma empaths have mastered the art of the silent treatment, and it's not about being petty or playing games. It's a reset button. In a world filled with constant noise and emotional turmoil, sometimes the most powerful move is to simply step back. You see, Sigma empaths don't operate from a place of emotional volatility. They operate from a place of intentional calm. When they give you the cold shoulder, it's not a punishment, it's a preservation tactic. They've realized that your presence is no longer worth the emotional investment. So they stop answering texts, stop returning calls, and stop engaging in your drama. Think about it like an emotional quarantine zone. Just as a doctor would isolate a patient with a contagious disease to prevent it from spreading, Sigma empaths quarantine themselves from negativity. They recognize the toxicity in your words and actions, and they're not about to let it infect their peace of mind. It's fascinating how this plays out in the real world. Psychologists have noted that taking a step back can be a healthy defense mechanism. It's called emotional detachment, and it's a proven way to maintain inner balance when faced with manipulative or draining people. Sigma empaths take this to heart. They've learned that constant engagement with someone who refuses to grow or take accountability is a waste of energy, and if you're sitting there thinking, oh, they're just playing hard to get, think again. Sigma empaths don't play games. Once they've decided to disengage, they've already mentally moved on. They're not looking back because to them, peace of mind is far more valuable than temporary companionship. So next time you feel that icy silence from a Sigma empath, know this. It's not rejection, it's redirection. They're choosing themselves. They're choosing tranquility over chaos. And in a world that never stops talking, their silence speaks volumes. This isn't about being cold, it's about being clear. Sigma empaths understand the power of their energy. They know when it's time to conserve it and when to let it flow. In their world, silence isn't empty. It's full of self-respect, wisdom, and an unwavering commitment to inner harmony. Point 6, the icy indifference. When you push a Sigma empath too far, you awaken their coldest side. They become emotionally neutral, like a snowstorm in July, strange and chilling. But what does this mean in practical terms? Sigma empaths are usually known for their sensitivity and deep emotional insight. They're attuned to the feelings of others, often serving as a source of comfort and understanding. However, this emotional depth has its limits. If someone consistently takes advantage of their kindness or tries to manipulate them, the The Sigma empath responds with an unexpected shift. They shut down completely. This shutdown isn't about anger or resentment. It's a protective mechanism rooted in psychology. When someone experiences repeated emotional strain or betrayal, their brain engages a self-preservation mode. Studies in emotional regulation reveal that this disengagement is a form of emotional detachment, a mental strategy to conserve energy and protect one's well-being. It's like flipping a switch from deep empathy to calm neutrality. Imagine someone who once poured out their energy trying to help others, suddenly becoming as still as a glacier. They stop explaining themselves, stop trying to be understood. They no longer chase approval or validation. They don't want your drama, your excuses, or your explanations. They've stepped back and let the cold winds blow. It's almost comical. People expect fireworks, dramatic arguments, or some fiery meltdown. But what they get is this frozen tundra, like Elsa from Frozen singing "Let It Go," Sigma style. But unlike Elsa's dramatic musical flourish, Sigma empaths don't perform for anyone. Their silence is louder than any song, and their disconnection speaks volumes. This cold detachment can be misunderstood. Some might call it harsh or uncaring, but it's not about cruelty. It's a final boundary, a clear sign that the Sigma empath has had enough. In a world full of noise and drama, their calm withdrawal is a powerful statement. It says, "I no longer invest my energy here." Understanding this response is crucial for anyone interacting with a Sigma empath. Respect their boundaries, appreciate their calm strength, and recognize that their icy indifference is simply a shield, a necessary tool for maintaining their emotional health. After all, even the most empathetic hearts have limits, and when those limits are reached, a winter of indifference follows. Point 7, rising from the ashes, the phoenix effect. Here's the magical thing about Sigma empaths. They don't just walk away, they level up. Every time they're pushed too far, they use that experience as fuel. They become stronger, wiser, and even more unshakable. It's like they're saying, "You thought you could break me, now you just gave me the blueprint to rebuild better." This isn't just poetic talk, it's rooted in something deeper. The phoenix effect comes from the mythological phoenix, a bird that dies in flames and is reborn from its own ashes. In psychological terms, this mirrors the concept of post-traumatic growth, where adversity and challenges lead to increased resilience and inner strength. Research shows that people who go through life's toughest trials often emerge with newfound purpose, sharper focus, and a deeper appreciation for life. Sigma empaths have this quality hardwired into them. They're not passive victims of circumstances, they're warriors of the soul. They use pain as a catalyst for transformation. So while you're busy playing mind games, thinking you're 2 steps ahead, they're out there forging a new version of themselves. This isn't some melodramatic "I'll show you" fantasy. It's a process of real growth and reinvention. They take every scar and every lesson and craft them into a masterpiece of personal evolution. Meanwhile, you're just another chapter in their origin story, an essential but temporary lesson in their journey to greatness. It's not about revenge, it's about rebirth. Like the phoenix, they rise brighter and stronger than before. And in the end, it's not about proving you wrong, it's about becoming the best version of themselves, no matter the challenges they face. Point 8, zero tolerance for manipulation. Sigma empaths possess an almost sixth sense when it comes to picking up on hidden motives. Their natural intuition means they can sense when someone's playing mind games or trying to control them, but once they've reached their breaking point, there's no going back. They become masters at seeing manipulation in all its forms. They're immune to gaslighting, those sneaky tactics that make you doubt your own reality. Guilt trips, forget it. Sigma empaths have learned to spot emotional manipulation from a mile away. Instead of absorbing those twisted words, they stand firm, like a fortress. Think of them like human lie detectors. They see through the smoke and mirrors with precision. It's not about being cold or distant. It's about valuing their own peace and mental health over someone else's mind games. Studies on empaths show that while they're often more compassionate and sensitive, that very trait can make them targets for manipulative people. But once a Sigma empath learns to guard their energy, it's game over for the manipulator. They won't let themselves be anyone's emotional sponge anymore. You'll see them call out manipulative behavior with pinpoint accuracy. They might not raise their voice or cause a scene, but their words will cut through the nonsense like a hot knife through butter. Picture playing poker with someone who can see every card you're about to play, every bluff, every tell. It's all laid bare. That's what dealing with a Sigma empath feels like once they've had enough. They'll stand up for themselves, and they won't lose any sleep over calling out manipulation. And that, right there, is why Sigma empaths are unstoppable when it comes to maintaining their inner peace. Sigmas, the moral of this story is simple. Don't mistake a Sigma empath's kindness for weakness. Their patience may seem endless, but it has a limit. And when that limit is reached, you'll see a side of them that's as breathtaking as it is final. So here's what I want you to take away from this. Embrace your inner Sigma empath. Honor your boundaries, trust your instincts, and never let anyone make you feel guilty for protecting your peace. Because at the end of the day, your energy is sacred. And if someone can't handle that, well, let them walk away. You've got better things to do. Sigmas, if this message resonates with you, smash that like button and subscribe to join our community of Sigma warriors. Remember, your strength lies in your independence, your empathy, and your unwavering self-respect. Keep shining your light, keep setting those boundaries, and always stay true and stay Sigma. Welcome, Sigmas. The Sigma male is a mysterious character who has decided to live by his own rules instead of those established by society, in a world where people are motivated by a need to fit in. The Sigma male functions completely outside of this framework, in contrast to alpha males, who thrive on power and social hierarchy, or beta guys, who seek comfort and approval. He is the independent lone wolf who forges his own way, frequently avoiding the commotion and rivalry of the social game. The fact that the Sigma male deviates from the norm is what makes him so intriguing. Psychologists frequently note that social categorization, the natural human desire to group people into groups, occurs. The Sigma male, however, resists simple classification. People who need control and predictability may become uneasy about his inability to participate in societal pecking orders. The Sigma has such a mysterious and intriguing air in part because of its eerie presence. The Sigma's strength also comes from his serene confidence and versatility. His confidence comes from within. He doesn't look to others for approval. According to studies, people who have a high degree of self-determination are frequently more creative and resilient. This gives the Sigma a sense of purpose that is both captivating and terrifying to everyone around him, enabling him to overcome obstacles in life. We're going to explore 8 distinctive characteristics of the Sigma male today. These characteristics are subtle yet potent, frequently leaving others perplexed and even a little disturbed. The Sigma is a force of nature because of his capacity to ignore drama and his laser-like focus on his objectives. So, fasten your seatbelt. You'll see how important these characteristics are once you comprehend them, not only for Sigma males, but also for anybody who dares to live life according to their own terms. Let's get started. Point 1. The silent aura that screams loudly. Let's kick it off with your silent aura, the calm, composed energy you carry like a shadow. It's like you've mastered the art of being present without having to prove anything to anyone. This silent confidence is a hallmark of Sigma males, the rare breed of men who thrive in solitude and self-sufficiency. They don't need the limelight, and that's what makes them so intriguing. You're not the guy who needs to fill the silence with small talk. Nope, you're the guy who owns the silence. This skill might seem simple, but in a world obsessed with noise, it's a rare gem. According to psychologists, silence can be more powerful than words. It gives your brain time to process information, fostering deeper thinking and better decision-making. Research even suggests that spending time in silence can lower stress levels and improve focus, 2 things Sigmas naturally excel at. Most people can't handle a pause in conversation. They're addicted to noise, chatter, and endless validation. But you, Sigma, are comfortable in your own skin. Your silence isn't empty. It's loaded with depth and mystery. In fact, studies have shown that when someone remains silent in a conversation, others often attribute more intelligence and authority to them. That's why your quiet presence speaks volumes. It forces people to lean in, to wonder what's brewing behind that steady gaze. The horror, people start projecting their fears onto you. They can't read you, so they assume you're thinking something dangerous, judging them, or plotting your next move like a chess master. In reality, you're probably just thinking about how good your coffee tastes or planning your next adventure, maybe a hike in the wilderness or a night of deep reading. This silence is your power, Sigmas. It makes people question themselves and their own insecurities. It's like holding a mirror to their restless minds. They see in you what they can't find in themselves: a deep calm, a quiet confidence, an ability to navigate the world without noise. So the next time you find yourself in a conversation, don't rush to fill the gaps. Let your silence do the talking. It's a weapon, a shield, and a statement all in one, hauntingly powerful in a world that can't stop talking. Point 2, eye contact that feels like an X-ray. Now let's talk about your eye contact. Or better yet, the way your gaze cuts right through the room like a laser beam. When you look at someone, it's like you're seeing straight through the surface, past the masks and the practiced smiles, straight into the raw honesty underneath. It's not just intense, it's revealing. Why does this matter? Because in a world of endless filters and polite facades, genuine eye contact is rare. Studies have shown that prolonged eye contact triggers the brain's limbic system, which is responsible for emotional processing. In other words, when your eyes lock with someone else's, you're activating parts of their brain that deal with vulnerability and truth. It's powerful, and it's why people find it both attractive and unsettling. Most people walk around with invisible barriers shielding their real selves. They're used to fleeting glances, quick distractions, and safe topics of conversation. But you, as a Sigma male, have no interest in that. Your gaze says, I see past the small talk. I see the real you. And trust me, people notice. This isn't about being creepy or intrusive, it's about authenticity. Your eyes show that you're willing to go beyond the shallow exchanges and into something real. That intensity doesn't just capture attention, it commands it. It's a silent challenge that says, if you're ready to be real, let's talk. If not, keep walking. Psychologists have even identified that intense eye contact can create a phenomenon called shared vulnerability, which can either deepen connections or make people squirm. Either way, it leaves an impression. So, Sigmas, keep those eyes sharp and focused. Use them as a window into the truth and as a shield against the superficial. In a world full of noise, your steady gaze cuts through the nonsense and demands authenticity. Let that be your strength and your signature. You're not here to fit in, you're here to live honestly. Point 3, the lone wolf mentality. Sigmas. You've heard it before, the lone wolf. It's not just a cool nickname, it's a way of life that sets you apart from the pack. You're not antisocial, you're selectively social. You thrive on your own company and don't need a crowd to feel alive. And this, it terrifies people. Why? Because in a world dominated by social validation and herd mentality, your independence is an anomaly. Studies in psychology, such as those by Dr. Abraham Maslow, show that belongingness is a fundamental human need. Most people crave approval, seeking to fit in with the group. But you're the guy who walks alone because you trust your instincts more than the noise of the crowd. This independence is what makes you magnetic and at the same time intimidating. You're proof that you don't have to follow trends to be relevant. You don't have to chase clout to feel worthy. You simply exist in your own orbit. Historically, lone wolves have played significant roles in shaping society. Nikola Tesla, a classic Sigma archetype, was known for working in solitude, creating groundbreaking technology without the need for social validation. In literature, the archetype of the lone wolf or outsider, like Holden Caulfield from The Catcher in the Rye or Jay Gatsby from The Great Gatsby, captures this same essence of individuality. Even in nature, the lone wolf operates differently. Unlike the alpha who leads the pack, the lone wolf travels alone, not out of weakness, but to explore new territories and avoid unnecessary conflict. This mirrors the Sigma's mindset, solitary yet strong. Being a Sigma doesn't mean rejecting relationships altogether. It's about choosing quality over quantity. You value deep, meaningful connections rather than superficial bonds. You'd rather have one authentic conversation than 100 hollow ones. This terrifies the status quo because your self-reliance challenges the idea that we must conform to thrive. Your quiet confidence speaks volumes in a world obsessed with loud opinions. You're not here to impress, you're here to live on your own terms. And let me tell you, Sigmas, that's a horror story for those who've never dared to stand alone. Your independence isn't just a quirk, it's your superpower. So keep embracing your inner lone wolf because the world needs fewer followers and more trailblazers. Point 4. The calm in chaos. Picture this. The world's on fire. Everyone's panicking. People are losing their minds. And there you are, cool as a cucumber. This is your calm in chaos energy, Sigmas. It's like you've got an inner sanctuary no storm can touch. And that's something people can't wrap their heads around. They see your calmness and it freaks them out. Why isn't he freaking out like the rest of us? Doesn't he care? Is he even human? The truth is you do care, but you care about what matters. You're not here to waste energy on things beyond your control. You're here to adapt, to think, and to survive. This Zen-like composure is a superpower that turns you into a mystery. People see it and they're both in awe and terrified. Because when you're not rattled by the noise, you become the calm center everyone wants, but few can handle. Let's dig into the psychology behind this. Researchers have found that emotional resilience, the ability to stay composed in the face of stress, is linked to better problem solving, stronger relationships, and even improved health. According to the American Psychological Association, those who stay calm under pressure are less likely to suffer from chronic stress-related issues like high blood pressure or anxiety disorders. What sets Sigmas apart is their ability to practice mindfulness even in chaos. You're not mindlessly reacting, you're observing, analyzing, and making calculated decisions. This makes you a natural leader when the world is falling apart because people instinctively gravitate towards those who stay composed. But it's not just about leading others, it's about personal freedom. Your calm energy frees you from the emotional roller coaster that consumes most people. You're not easily manipulated by fear or drama. Instead, you're grounded in your own sense of purpose and direction. This is why Sigmas seem almost otherworldly to those around them. When the world is screaming for attention, you're focused on what truly matters. And that focus is magnetic. People want to know your secret. They want to understand how you stay so unflappable. But the real secret is that you've learned to tune out the noise and listen to your own inner compass. So next time the world is losing its head, remember this. Your calm isn't just a quirk, it's your greatest weapon. Keep cultivating it, because in a world on fire, your steady flame of composure lights the way. Point 5, master of boundaries. Sigmas, let's unpack this power of boundaries, because for you, they're not just a suggestion, they're a lifestyle. Boundaries are the invisible lines you draw to protect your peace, energy, and purpose. You say no without guilt, and that's not just admirable, it's essential. Research by psychologist Dr. Henry Cloud shows that healthy boundaries are the key to authentic relationships and personal growth. Without them, you end up drained and resentful. Now here's the fascinating part. Most people don't understand boundaries at all. They think saying no is rude or selfish. They're conditioned to people please and avoid conflict like the plague. But you, Sigma, are wired differently. You've learned that boundaries are not about being unkind, they're about being honest and clear. It's like a moat around your castle, but instead of keeping out everyone, it invites in only those who respect your values. This is what shakes people up. When you draw sharp lines, it makes others realize they can't manipulate you. You're not just drifting through life, waiting to be told what to do, you're charting your own course. That's intimidating to those who thrive on control or seek validation through others. And let's not forget, your boundaries are flexible gates, not concrete walls. They open to those who bring mutual respect and understanding. A 2022 study in the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships found that clear personal boundaries lead to healthier connections and stronger trust. So when you hold your ground, you're actually fostering more authentic bonds, not pushing people away. It's also about self-respect. When you guard your energy like a fortress, you're saying to the world, my time and well-being matter. You're not afraid to let people know your limits, and that empowers you to focus on what truly matters, your growth, your goals, your freedom. So keep those gates strong, Sigmas. They're not barriers to love or friendship. They're the filters that ensure you only surround yourself with people who honor your worth. And that, my friend, is the mark of a true Sigma. Point 6, the power of walking away. One of the most powerful and unsettling traits of Sigma males is their ability to walk away from situations, relationships, or even entire social circles without a backward glance. In a society that often glorifies attachment, drama, and endless compromise, this can be a truly radical stance. It's not that Sigma males are cold or unfeeling, rather, They've mastered the art of prioritizing their own inner peace and self-worth over the fleeting validation of others. Psychologically speaking, the ability to walk away is a sign of emotional independence and self-assuredness. Studies in human behavior and attachment theory highlight that people who are secure within themselves are less likely to tolerate situations that drain their energy or compromise their values. Unlike those who cling to toxic relationships out of fear of loneliness or rejection, Sigma males have cultivated a mindset where solitude is not seen as a punishment, but as a sanctuary. This trait doesn't just make Sigma males stand out, it unsettles those around them. In a world where people are conditioned to seek constant external approval, seeing someone who doesn't play that game is both inspiring and intimidating. It forces others to confront their own insecurities and dependence on external validation. Walking away without looking back also sends a clear message. Your peace of mind is non-negotiable. Sigma males know that drama, manipulation, and emotional games are costly distractions. They'd rather face the quiet of an empty room than the noise of a room filled with pretense. Historically, figures like Marcus Aurelius and other Stoic philosophers embodied this principle. They taught that peace comes from within, and no external force should be allowed to disturb that inner calm. In modern times, Sigma males carry this torch, showing that true strength often lies in the ability to say no and move on rather than fighting for scraps of validation. Ultimately, this ability to walk away is what makes Sigma males both admired and feared. In a world where people are always seeking to be needed, the Sigma's refusal to chase or settle is a quiet act of rebellion. It's a powerful reminder that in the end, the only approval that truly matters is your own. Point 7, the mysterious past. Every Sigma male has a past, a backstory that's as intriguing as it is untold. You're not out there sharing every detail of your life on social media or wearing your heart on your sleeve. Instead, you move in silence, operating beneath the radar. This sense of mystery isn't an act, it's a calculated choice grounded in the timeless allure of the unknown. Studies in social psychology highlight how people are naturally drawn to those who keep a certain distance. This phenomenon, known as the pratfall effect, suggests that a hint of mystery enhances attractiveness. Your enigmatic past plays into this, making you a living puzzle. But what exactly fuels this curiosity? It's the ancient human tendency to fill in the blanks. Our brains crave answers, and when they can't find them, they're left with a gnawing fascination. By staying silent about your past, you wield a quiet power. You don't just live in the present, you invite others to imagine your journey. Sigmas understand that privacy isn't about deception, it's about control. Sharing your past is like giving away a treasure map. And every detail you keep to yourself is a fortress, safeguarding your energy and focus. So let them wonder, Sigmas. Let them fill in the blanks with whispers and speculation. In your silence, you're not just a man. You're a myth in the making. Point 8, the unapologetic authenticity. Let's dive deeper into your unapologetic authenticity. In today's world, where social media and peer pressure push people to fit molds and follow trends, being truly authentic is a rare and powerful trait. Authenticity means being completely comfortable in your own skin without feeling the need to shapeshift or pretend just to please others. When you choose to be real, you stand out. You don't imitate popular opinions or change yourself to fit in. This fearless self-expression can be unsettling for many because it forces them to confront their own inauthenticity. Your genuine nature becomes a mirror, reflecting back the masks others wear, the false personas they've adopted to blend in or gain approval. This honesty is more than just brave, it's transformative. Psychologists agree that living authentically is linked to higher self-esteem, better mental health, and deeper, more meaningful relationships. When you embrace who you truly are, you create space for others to do the same. So Sigmas, keep shining your true self unapologetically. Your authenticity isn't just a personal strength, it's a beacon that challenges a world drowning in conformity. By being real, you inspire others to break free and thrive on their own terms. Sigmas, the 8 things we just uncovered are not weaknesses. They're your silent weapons. They're the reason you stand out in a world full of noise. They're why you can walk into a room and make people feel something, fear, respect, intrigue, without saying a single word. Remember, you don't have to shout to be heard. You don't have to force your presence. Your calm confidence, your fierce independence, and your authentic heart are enough to leave an impact that lasts. So embrace these eerie traits, Sigmas. Let them be your armor and your gift to the world. Because you're not here to be ordinary. You're here to be unforgettable. Sigmas, if you felt a spark of recognition in today's video, make sure to like and subscribe to join this community of modern warriors who walk their own path. Let's keep this energy alive and let's continue to grow together. Stay true and stay Sigma. Imagine a man who drifts through the noise of the world, yet never lets it weigh him down. Picture a soul so self-contained that even silence becomes a symphony. This man is the Sigma male, a figure of quiet strength and resolute independence. But what makes the Sigma male unshakable? Why does no one dare to tame his spirit? It's because he doesn't just walk a different path. He forges it from scratch. Unlike the alpha who leads and the beta who follows, the Sigma male operates entirely outside the traditional social hierarchies. He writes his own rules, governed not by others, but by his inner compass. Psychologists refer to this archetype as the lone wolf, and for good reason. Sigma males find fulfillment in solitude because it gives them room to reflect and grow. Studies show that spending time alone can actually boost creativity and enhance problem-solving skills. For the Sigma, this solitude isn't a burden, it's a crucible where his ideas are forged into reality. This life of quiet self-mastery isn't about escapism, it's a declaration of self-sovereignty. Sigma males are highly self-reliant, thriving on personal responsibility and inner discipline. They see life as an adventure of the mind, always seeking knowledge and truth rather than external validation. In a world obsessed with clicks and comparisons, the Sigma male remains steadfast. He isn't afraid to stand apart or to question the status quo. This independence fuels his authenticity, allowing him to engage with others without losing his sense of self. So when the noise of the world threatens to drown you out, consider the Sigma way. Be unshakable, forge your own path. Let even silence become a symphony of your making. Number 1, self-reliance as a core principle. Sigma males are the epitome of self-sufficiency. They don't wait for rescue, they become their own heroes. This unwavering independence fortifies them against external pressures, and it's not just a matter of mindset. It's backed by real psychological principles. Let's break it down. In psychology, there's a concept called, this term describes people who believe they can shape their own destiny through their actions. Sigma males embody this idea fully. They believe that regardless of outside circumstances, economic fluctuations, social hierarchies, or cultural expectations, they have the power to determine their path. This is a fundamental trait of self-sufficient people. Now, how do they do this in practice? Sigma males don't rely on external validation to boost their confidence. They know that true strength lies within. While the world might be clamoring for likes, followers, and constant applause, Sigma males understand that these external rewards are fleeting. They focus instead on their skills, values, and personal mission. This mindset echoes the philosophy of Stoicism, where self-mastery and inner discipline are prized above all. Their independence also extends to how they approach problems. When faced with challenges, Sigma males see them as opportunities for growth. They don't crumble under pressure because they've conditioned themselves to find solutions rather than excuses. This proactive attitude is what sets them apart from those who wait for a hero to arrive. In fact, studies show that individuals who take ownership of their challenges are more likely to experience success and fulfillment in life. Another reason Sigma males stand strong is because they're selective about their influences. They're not easily swayed by trends or popular opinions. Instead, they cultivate a discerning mindset, choosing mentors and role models based on substance, not hype. This shields them from the noise of the crowd and gives them clarity in their decision-making. Let's not forget the practical side. Sigma males are adept at acquiring new skills and knowledge. Whether it's mastering a new craft or staying ahead in their career, they're constantly evolving. This thirst for knowledge ensures they're always equipped to handle life's surprises. So next time you hear about a Sigma male, remember, he's not just an independent thinker. He's someone who's learned to harness his own power, trust his own instincts, and stand tall no matter what life throws his way. Number 2, emotional mastery. While others may be swayed by emotions, Sigma males maintain emotional equilibrium. They understand their feelings but aren't governed by them, allowing for rational decision-making even in chaos. Let's break this down. Emotional equilibrium means having the ability to remain calm and composed, no matter the situation. It's not about suppressing emotions, it's about understanding and managing them. Sigma males possess this trait naturally. Rather than letting anger cloud their judgment or joy lead them astray, they see emotions as valuable data points, signals from the mind and heart that inform decisions, not control them. Why is this so powerful? In high-pressure situations, most people react impulsively. Their minds race, their hearts pound, and adrenaline floods their systems. This often leads to rash decisions like shouting back at a boss or panicking in a crisis. Sigma males, however, can pause, assess, and act with precision. Think of them like skilled chess players, always analyzing the board and making moves with clarity. Science backs this up. Research in emotional intelligence shows that those with higher emotional regulation can manage stress more effectively and perform better under pressure. This isn't magic. It's about activating the brain's prefrontal cortex, which governs rational thinking, and minimizing the grip of the amygdala, which is linked to emotional reactivity. Sigma males have mastered this neurological balance. Consider this in real life. Picture a firefighter who calmly coordinates a rescue while others freeze in fear, or a negotiator who remains steady during tense business deals. Sigma males bring this same calm to everyday challenges, whether it's dealing with family drama, office politics, or personal setbacks. They know that emotions are temporary, but decisions have lasting impact. Entertainment-wise, imagine an action hero in a blockbuster film like Jason Bourne or James Bond, cool-headed, assessing risks and executing plans with laser focus. That's the Sigma male's energy in real life, minus the explosions. So why does this matter? Because in a world of constant noise and reactive behavior, the Sigma male's emotional equilibrium is a rare and powerful skill. It allows them to navigate life with confidence, adapt to challenges, and inspire others to find their own calm in the storm. Number 3, purpose-driven living. Every action taken by a Sigma male aligns with a deeper purpose. This clarity of intent acts as a compass, guiding them through life's tumultuous waters without losing direction. Imagine a ship navigating through a stormy sea. While most vessels are tossed around, unsure of their course, the Sigma male's inner compass remains steadfast, pointing true north. This unwavering sense of purpose isn't just an abstract concept, it's rooted in self-awareness and conscious decision-making. Unlike the alpha, who often leads through dominance, or the beta, who seeks validation, the Sigma operates on his own terms. He doesn't move with the crowd or follow trends blindly. Instead, his actions stem from an internal code, a set of values and goals that are unique to him. Studies in psychology suggest that individuals who possess a strong sense of purpose tend to be more resilient in the face of challenges. This trait is seen in Sigma males who approach life as a mission, each choice an intentional step towards something meaningful. For example, when a Sigma male decides to pursue a new career path, it's not just about the paycheck. It's about aligning his skills and passions with a cause that matters to him. He might take risks that seem foolish to others, but they're calculated moves driven by his personal vision. This is why Sigma males are often seen as enigmatic and mysterious. They don't reveal their entire playbook, yet every move they make has been carefully considered. In relationships, this clarity of intent translates to authenticity. Sigma males aren't interested in superficial connections. They seek relationships that resonate with their core values. This makes them both magnetic and intimidating, as they refuse to settle for anything less than genuine. Entertainment comes in observing how Sigma males handle setbacks. While others might crumble under pressure, the Sigma male uses adversity as a learning opportunity. He doesn't see failure as a dead end, but as a redirection towards a more aligned path. This perspective echoes the Japanese philosophy of Kaizen, continuous improvement. It's a practical example of how a Sigma's purpose-driven mindset shapes his response to life's inevitable challenges. In a world that often pushes for conformity, Sigma males remind us of the power of intention and the strength found in self-direction. Their ability to act with precision and purpose is a testament to the transformative potential of clarity in an uncertain world. Number 4, disinterest in social hierarchies. Sigma males operate outside traditional social structures. They neither seek dominance nor submission, choosing instead to define their own place in the world. This makes them stand out from the typical alpha and beta archetypes. While alphas often strive for leadership and recognition and betas tend to follow, sigmas carve out their own unique path, guided by self-determined values and personal freedom. Think of sigma males as lone wolves, independent thinkers who thrive on autonomy. They don't need validation from others or conform to societal standards. Instead, they prioritize their inner calling and live by their own code of ethics. This independence isn't about being antisocial, it's about making conscious choices that align with their true self. Research in social psychology supports the idea of sigma males being comfortable with solitude. Studies on introversion and self-reliance reveal that such men often excel in creative pursuits, problem-solving, and leadership roles that require innovative thinking rather than traditional hierarchies. This doesn't mean sigma males shy away from social interactions. They simply don't let those interactions define them. Another fascinating aspect of sigma males is their adaptability. In the animal kingdom, lone wolves are flexible and resourceful, able to navigate various environments without depending on a pack. Likewise, sigma males adjust to different social contexts without losing their core identity. They're natural observers, keenly aware of social dynamics, yet unbound by them. Their quiet confidence often intrigues people. Unlike alphas who assert dominance, sigma males project a calm, self-assured demeanor. This presence can be magnetic, as it signals security and mystery. You might find them in careers that offer freedom, entrepreneurship, creative arts, or remote work, where they can operate independently and stay true to their own vision. Despite their detachment from social structures, sigma males value meaningful connections. They form deep bonds with those who resonate with their values, favoring quality over quantity in relationships. This selective approach to connection ensures their authenticity shines through. In essence, sigma males remind us that leadership and influence don't always require the spotlight. Sometimes the most impactful individuals are those who quietly forge their own path, inspiring others through example, not authority. Whether you identify as a sigma male or simply appreciate this mindset, it's a powerful lesson in self-mastery and staying true to who you are. Number 5, selective social interactions. Quality over quantity defines their relationships. This mindset isn't just a catchy phrase, it's rooted in the idea that depth is more fulfilling than breadth. When you prioritize quality, you're essentially investing in relationships that nourish your soul and align with your values. Think of it this way, having 5 deep, soulful connections can be far more rewarding than 100 shallow acquaintances. This philosophy is actually supported by psychological research. Studies show that meaningful relationships are linked to greater happiness, lower stress levels, and even longer life expectancy. In contrast, trying to maintain too many superficial connections can actually drain your energy and reduce your emotional well-being. This is why people who embrace the quality over quantity principle are selective. They understand that every interaction requires energy. Time spent on people who don't contribute to your growth or joy is time wasted. These individuals often have a small but tight-knit circle of friends and loved ones. They prefer to go deep, sharing thoughts, dreams, and vulnerabilities rather than engaging in shallow small talk. Let's make this relatable. Picture someone at a crowded party. Most people are chatting about the weather or the latest celebrity scandal. But there's that one person who's having a heart-to-heart conversation in the corner about life goals, fears, and ambitions. That's the power of quality connections. These conversations uplift, inspire, and connect on a deeper level. Even ancient philosophers understood this. Aristotle spoke of friendships of virtue, relationships based on mutual respect and shared values as the highest form of friendship. Modern psychology echoes this, emphasizing that authentic connections are more satisfying and emotionally enriching. In today's world, with social media bombarding us with endless connections, it's easy to fall into the trap of accumulating followers or friends without real bonds. But the truth is, real connections take time, trust, and effort. They're built on shared experiences and honesty, and they're worth every bit of energy you put in because they provide support, meaning, and joy. So remember, quality over quantity isn't just about trimming your social circle. It's about investing in the kind of connections that make your life richer, your days brighter, and your heart fuller. Number 6, influence without authority. Their impact isn't derived from titles or positions, but from authenticity and competence. People are drawn to them not because they command, but because they inspire. This dynamic is rooted in social psychology. Studies show that individuals who lead with authenticity and demonstrate genuine competence are often seen as more trustworthy and charismatic. These leaders don't rely on formal authority or job titles to influence others. Instead, they cultivate relationships built on respect and empathy. Authenticity is the foundation of their influence. When you're authentic, you're consistent in your values, words, and actions. Research by Harvard Business Review highlights that authenticity in leaders increases employee satisfaction and trust. People can sense when someone is truly aligned with their beliefs versus when they're faking it. Competence then seals the deal. It's about demonstrating the skills and knowledge to back up your words. Competence is about doing what you say you'll do and doing it well. This dual combination of authenticity and competence creates a gravitational pull. It's like the magnetism of historical figures such as Mahatma Gandhi, who had no formal title but inspired millions. Or consider sports legends like Michael Jordan. While he had the title of player, it was his undeniable work ethic and skill that earned him respect. Interestingly, social influence doesn't always need grand gestures. A kind word, a supportive gesture, or simply being a consistent example of integrity has profound ripple effects. You don't have to shout to be heard. Your authenticity and competence speak volumes in silence. This is what sets these individuals apart from the crowd. They don't have to demand attention. They naturally attract it. So when you wonder why people gravitate towards someone, look deeper. It's often not the flashy title, but the quiet, powerful combination of authenticity and competence that creates a lasting legacy. Number 7, lifelong learning. Sigma males are often described as independent and self-reliant, but one of their defining traits is their relentless curiosity. Unlike many who settle into comfort zones, Sigma males are perpetual students of life. This means they never stop learning, growing, and evolving. At the core, Sigma males possess a natural thirst for knowledge. It's not about collecting facts just to impress others or gain social status, but about genuinely understanding the world around them. This deep curiosity pushes them to explore new ideas, philosophies, skills, and experiences. Whether it's diving into books on psychology, mastering a new language, or experimenting with different ways of thinking, Sigma males are always on a path of self-improvement. Psychological research supports this trait. Studies show that people with high levels of intrinsic motivation, meaning they learn for the sheer joy of learning, tend to develop greater creativity, resilience, and adaptability. Sigma males exemplify this mindset. Instead of relying on external validation, their motivation comes from within, which fuels continuous growth. This mindset also makes Sigma males excellent problem solvers. Because they are open to new information and adaptable, they can approach challenges from multiple angles. They don't get stuck in rigid patterns, but are flexible enough to revise their beliefs and strategies as they gain new insights. This adaptability is crucial in an ever-changing world where the ability to learn quickly can mean the difference between success and failure. Moreover, Sigma males tend to learn from life experiences, not just textbooks. They observe people carefully, reflect deeply on situations, and use lessons from failures and successes alike to refine their understanding. This experiential learning is what often sets them apart from others who may rely solely on conventional education. In essence, the Sigma male's curiosity is a lifelong engine driving personal evolution. It's this commitment to learning and growth that shapes their unique approach to life, quiet, confident, and always moving forward. Number 8, resilience through adaptability. Change is not a threat, but an opportunity. This perspective is a powerful mindset that separates those who thrive from those who merely survive. When we view change as an opportunity, we open ourselves up to growth, learning, and new possibilities. Neuroscience shows that the brain is incredibly adaptable, a phenomenon called neuroplasticity. This means our minds can rewire and grow stronger through new experiences and challenges, proving that change can literally help us evolve. People with a flexible mindset don't resist uncertainty or fear the unknown. Instead, they approach change with curiosity and resilience. They understand that setbacks or unexpected events are not dead ends, but stepping stones toward greater success. This mindset builds emotional strength, reducing stress and anxiety, because it shifts focus from what is lost to what can be gained. In fact, studies in psychology emphasize that flexibility correlates with better problem-solving skills and higher creativity. By embracing change as a chance to innovate and adapt, individuals become more resourceful and confident. So next time change comes knocking, don't shut the door. Welcome it with open arms, because it's inviting you to grow stronger, smarter, and more capable than ever before. Sigma males are unbreakable, not because they are invulnerable, but because they have built a life anchored in authenticity, purpose, and resilience. Their strength lies in their unwavering commitment to their principles and their ability to navigate life on their own terms. Sigmas, if this resonates with you, join our community by liking this video and subscribing to our channel. Embrace the Sigma qualities to lead a life of impact and authenticity. Stay true and stay Sigma.